Like the third time.
No, we're good.
Y'all can hear him, right?
Okay.
Okay.
All right, 6:30. It's time.
What's the time for?
Isn't that some kind of talk show entrance?
I don't know. Is it?
No, we're good. Y'all can
I can't remember. Well, tonight we're doing something a little different. We have
6:30.
Jesse T. Tacoronte from Jesse. Where are you from? Florida.
I'm in Central Florida. I'm
Cent-
in Kissimmee.
Kissimmee. All right.
Yeah.
Elite Bassmaster Elite Series Pro, fellow pro with Shane. We thank you for coming on tonight. We got us normal three guys here, and Jesse's sitting in his house with looks like a bass mount on his wall, way bigger than the one David's got up here. So
Yeah, that one up there is like 10 pounds, 11 ounces. My wife caught it. I ain't gonna lie.
that was like that was like 3 pounds.
That's not even mine.
Yeah.
I got a couple up
And
there.
that's my wife's personal best right there.
10 pounds. We all need to go to Florida.
That's right.
Yeah, man. There's a lot of big ones up here, buddy. And they're
All right.
chewing right now on spooks, which is great.
Spooks?
Spooks, top water, man, all day long. You don't put it down.
Holy cow. So what's going on? Are there any still trying to spawn, or the shad spawn going on?
There's fish on beds. There's fish all over in all kinds of stages right now, man. We were out yesterday, and I've been out about twice, 3 times a week. And, you know, Shane and I fished with Derby last weekend on Sunday, and anywhere we found beds, whether they were active beds or abandoned beds, you know, you still got the fry garters around.
Right?
You catch, every now and then, you know, we probably caught 50, 60 fish, but you catch one 5-pound female or a 6-pound female. Yesterday I lost one, probably 8 or 9 pounds. And my other buddy said he had one with 3-knocker spook. All 3 hooks were on the bottom lip. That's how big the mouth was.
Holy cow.
Yeah, literally it was sitting sideways, he said, just like this, and he had all 3 hooks. And he was trying to guide it around the boat. And 2 of the hooks popped out. He says, you sucker, I'm gonna snag you. So he tried to turn it to get on top of the head.
Game off.
It come loose. When he turned, he popped that last hook out. But he said, I swear to you, Jess, the whole spook was on the bottom lip, all 3 hooks.
Well, the only thing that I've ever caught in Florida that had all 3 hooks in the bottom jaw of a spook is an alligator.
I had a few of those chicks. You see my post yesterday. I guarantee you that the alligators were practicing social distancing or they're training for a takeover because they were all about 6 to 8 feet apart. There was 30 or 40 of them swimming in rhythm with each other. I thought, what in the world? I ain't never seen nothing like this. And it's fun to throw a spook, you know, over there and watch them chase it. Those buzz bait or something over to them. They'll get it if you give it to them in a minute, man.
Tie you a big easy on there and reel it across his nose and watch what happens.
Oh, I know what happened. I done hooked me about 11 pounder years ago. I never did again.
I watched one eat
It's too much. Yeah, it is too much work. I don't want to do that no more.
I watched one eat a live target frog one time too.
Yep,
They'll do
sure
that.
did.
I'm glad that you had them daggone pliers that they looked like they came from Children of the Corn or something, man. They were like that long, like shears.
Oh
Yeah,
gosh.
I've only landed. I've landed them about 4 foot, about the biggest. You know, anything bigger than that, I just cut the line. Just you can have it. I don't need. I like my digits. You know, I like these where they're at.
I landed a 3-footer at Toho one time on sheer accident. It blew up on a frog on the backside of the reeds. You couldn't see. Well, I set the hook on it and reeled it through the reeds, and it still never came up. But when it gets to the boat, I boat flip it. And I'm sitting there with a 3-foot alligator on the front deck, and I look at my co-angler and I said, "What are we gonna do now?" And he looked at me and he said, "We ain't gonna do nothing."
You on your own, son.
Yeah, boy.
Oh, that's
That was
funny.
in an open, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the second day of the Bass Open at Kissimmee.
I'm trying to remember. I was
Dang,
your
man.
I traveled with you that year.
Mhm.
That guy ended up winning the co.
He sure did.
Marlon
Marlon
Crowder.
Marlon Crowder, that was
Marlon?
his name. Yep.
Yeah, you know Marlon.
Oh, Marlon.
Yeah, so Marlon fished with Shane. And he
Yep.
was
He fished with me and
and Gerald
snuck
Swindle.
in there and then got paired with Swindle the third day and caught like 22 pounds or whatever it was and sat down. Didn't even fish the rest of the day. He ate all the Swindle's crackers up, I think.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm think he said he made. I remember we talked to him. He said he made like 7 casts, and that
Yeah,
was it because he
yeah.
had almost
Yeah.
22 pounds.
Yeah, I think Martin said Gerald asked him to sit down, please. You don't need no more weight.
Yeah.
I believe that's the true story.
Yeah.
Hey man, please sit down. You just don't need no more than 22 pounds.
Right.
Yeah, he could have stopped after the first 2.
He caught 2 10-pounders.
Yeah, they were close.
He had 2 legit 10-pounders. Yeah.
And that was
Dave's
when
over
crazy.
by then. You don't need to do much. As a co-angler, you don't need to do much more than that. You know.
that was when Swindle had that. Well, that might be the only. Is that the only tournament he's won in bass?
Yeah.
I think it is.
Yeah.
It
So
is. It's an open he
he
won here in tow. That's the only event he's ever won.
he led wire to wire. So he was
Yeah.
he'd fished.
Oh, he was on
fished
'em.
forever. Yeah, he was jacking 30 pounds a day.
Yep.
Yeah. You know, Angler of the Year, old Gerald has 2 AOIs.
Yep.
And that's harder to do than winning the Classic. That's harder to do than anything. So you got to commend the man for that, you know.
I agree with that.
Consistent guy. I mean, listen, he can drill them out, man. He grinds them and grinds them and grinds them all year, no matter where he goes. And that goes a long way, you know.
Yeah, you can't slip up one day to win Angler of the
Yeah.
Year.
So to get an AOI title twice, that's I'd be happy getting one before I die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. No complaints. So anyway, on a good note, you all know Aaron. He's recovering good. You know, Aaron's a dear friend of mine, and we've been doing a lot of praying for him. So he's up and running and doing good. And I haven't talked to Leslie or him about the results of that second test, but that second lesion he had in his head. But he knows that he's got to deal with chemo and radiation, and so it's got him down on that. But you know, he's up on that he's alive and breathing. I tell you, you know, I always tell everybody asks me how you doing. I said I'm happy, I'm breathing. I can handle the rest. You know,
Yeah.
that's kind of the way. That's true, man. You know, Shane, that's the way I always tell you. I'm happy, I'm breathing, I'm good.
On the right side of the dirt. That's what I always
That's
say.
right, man. That's right. That's absolutely right. So, you know, he's got a little battle ahead of him, but he'll pull out there. He's a pretty tough dude. So, I
That's
just want
Yeah, that's
to
good.
ask people, you know, give prayers out for him and his family. They need it, man. That's a tough one to deal with.
Yeah, thanks for the update on that. All we know that don't know Aaron personally is just what Leslie and Aaron are putting up on Facebook. So
Yeah.
we did see
Good people.
we did see Aaron got to slip out and looked like he caught a couple bass. So
A couple good ones, actually.
Yeah.
He went over late and wrecking them, so, you know.
yeah,
Yeah, pretty good stuff. Pretty good stuff. But yeah, man, he'll get past that and go from there. So tell me, boys, what do you think about this coronavirus nonsense that's going around? Got everybody trapped in their home.
I think, and I'm glad it looks like we're on the backside of it, and I believe we're gonna get back to business as usual for us fishing wise. And David just said a minute ago that it looks like all the South Carolina stores will be opening this afternoon, wasn't it?
Well, it's effective 5 p.m. today, so by tomorrow morning, everybody should be back up and running for business, retail-wise. I don't know restaurants yet or barbershops or any of the rest of that. So
You guys actually had retail stores closed?
yeah.
Oh my goodness,
Yeah,
man!
they locked us down.
It's been a ghost town. I mean, the only thing that's been open is Lowe's, Home Depot,
grocery
Walmart, and Rusty Hooks. David got shut down for about half a day, and that was about it. You know, he was really fortunate on that deal. They deemed the fishing industry essential, so David got to remain open.
as long as you were a
It is
bait and
essential.
tackle store, if you were outdoors, you had to close.
How about that?
I'll be dang.
Yeah, but
What
they
did you say? I
shut.
couldn't hear. What'd you say, David?
I said that they allowed bait and tackle stores to stay open, but if you were classified as outdoors or sporting goods, you had to close.
Wow.
So, who knows? I think it's time to call it good and get back to work and get life back going, the economy rolling, and people back fishing and doing their normal things.
Yeah, you get, I told Shane, we was talking, Mike Jones, Shane, we went out
Oh, yeah.
fishing. Yeah, we was out fishing, and, it's killed his guide service. Okeechobee's just about, done.
That place is a ghost town anyway.
Oh, yeah, man. These guys, last year it was all that red tide and all they killed the grass and the fish kills and the algae and all the, so nobody come fish the thing. I mean, it was like a ghost town. Now this year they come up with this corona nonsense craziness. You can't take somebody fishing, it's killing them, And those guys depend on it. That's their living, man. And
Yep.
we got into a little in-depth conversation with him. And he asked me, he says, what are your thoughts on this? Because he feels like he can take 2 guys fishing and you can still be careful, even if you have to wear a mask. You wear your mask during the day, you go doing your fishing, whatever. And, you know, and I said, listen, Mike, people don't really realize the depth of the effect of this on the economy and what effect one human being has. I came up with 134. Actually, Cody, my son, made me do a spreadsheet. I came up with one person affecting 134 different industries. And every day I could add 2 or 3 more because it, you know, finds it. And Shane, you know what my other business is, and I don't like to talk about it, but so I come up with these things and I share them with some of these people that I deal with that are actual scholars. You know, I'm a dummy. I mean, these guys are, you know, pretty sharp guys and gals. And they never realized, and I told Cody, my son, I said, listen, I'm going to use your girlfriend as an example. She's a manager at a liquor place, a distribution channel. And now she's been working in her pajamas for like 3.5 weeks, you know? And I said, just think about what she doesn't do anymore. And when you start looking at that, when you get up in the morning and you don't have to do your hair, and you're not using hairspray and certain products for your hair, and you're not putting makeup on and lipstick and pantyhose and having to get your clothes pressed and buying clothes and
You're
high
still wearing all
heels.
that stuff, aren't you?
Yeah, well, Shane still does that. That's beside the point. The point is that, you know, people don't realize a woman, you know, she might have 4 or 5 different kinds of makeup she's using. That she's affected 4 or 5 different companies and all the manufacturers that supplied them companies so they can manufacture that and all those employees. So that's just one little aspect. Now you start thinking about, you know, clothes. Well, how about the clothes manufacturers? That's then the fabric, all the farmers, all the stuff that's affected to make that clothes. That she's not doing anymore. She's not getting in her car and starting it in the morning. She's not wearing tires out. She don't need tire rotation. She don't need oil changes or filters or maintenance or anything on that car sitting in the driveway. She's not burning fuel. Look at oil. Today was the very first time in the history that oil futures were negative $37.
I saw that earlier.
37 negative. You know I'm a trader, Shane. So we.
Well,
trade.
see, I was looking at it earlier, and I said something about it, and everybody argued with me that was not possible. I said, well, just argue with the
It
stock
is.
market.
Want me to show it to you? I'll show you the contracts.
I seen it.
Bring them up. I'll share my screen with you. So, you know, when you look at these things in the bigger picture, this woman now, she's not going to eat lunch either. So she's not supporting the business, and people don't think about, you know, I'm going to Applebee's or I'm going to Chipotle or wherever the heck you're going to go to lunch. But think about all the different components to make one meal. All the different providers that are out there, all the farmers, the processing people, the workers, the employees, all that has to happen. So again, I've got a list. One person has affected 134 different industries that day. One person every single day times 300 million people.
Well,
They don't realize that this is going to look, the Great Recession, as they called it, is going to pale in comparison for the recovery time it's going to take to get 22 million people just this last month that are unemployed. Because remember, the way the unemployment numbers work, and most people don't even understand this, as soon as you stop collecting unemployment, you're no longer considered unemployed because you're not on unemployment. So how many people are going to go past that unemployment, stop collecting the checks they're not counted for anymore? So what do we really have out there? A 30%, 35% unemployment rate? It sounds ridiculous, but that's what's out there. Those are the real numbers. And it's going to take 20 years to get back, man. People have lost businesses that they've worked their whole life for, given everything they have. Mom and dad gave it to them. Who knows, generations that have worked to support this business, all of a sudden overnight, everybody's afraid of a little virus. You know Francesco. He lives in Italy. He lives in Milan. I think this is his 42nd day on lockdown.
Wow.
And on April 1st, I sent him his own report because they won't allow their citizens to see the reports. And he was blown away. I said, you know why they won't allow you to see these, right? And he says, why is that? I said, there'll be a revolution within 24 hours. They had over 14,000 deaths. Okay? 14,000. Listen to this number. 99 were confirmed healthy. The rest were all 78 years old on average and had existing conditions. So why would you lock down an entire country for people who are 78-year-olds who are dying and supposed to be dying any damn ways? If you really need to protect the elderly or the diabetics or those people, those are the ones that should stay on lockdown. But you can't stop a whole population. They just did it out of fear. It was just a knee-jerk reaction. They don't know what to do. They had no plan. So, and then talk stimulus, and they're giving out all this money. I just got another email today. I had to lay off 2 people myself for Enigma Fishing. I have a choice. And they got this payment, the payroll protection deal. So they just stuck another $312 billion in there. Tomorrow morning, it goes into effect. So, it's your kids and your great-grandkids and your great-great-grandkids that are going to pay for all this neurologic reaction. This is going to take generations upon generations to pay for all this money. So I just think it was done completely wrong, man. And personally,
So I have a personal request, Jesse. It sounds like you did some pretty good crunching for spreadsheets. I would just like to know. You said the one person. I'd like to know the one person's name that's affecting the TP supply. I think if you can figure that out, for us.
Yeah, it's not that it's affecting the TP supply. Here's the funny thing. I read a big long article on that because I was wondering the same thing. Like, where could I buy stock in some of these companies for the meanwhile? Because it's going crazy. And what's happening is people were hoarding. So,
Right.
I've always been, I know it sounds crazy, but I'm on a monthly paper towel and toilet paper thing from Amazon. So
Yep.
I'm not going for a shortage of anything.
I'm the same way.
That's delivered every month. No
That and diapers for me. I got one in diapers still.
I'm going to be wearing diapers here soon if this keeps up. I might need to borrow some.
Well, they only make them in size 6 up to 50 pounds, so you're out.
But it's really disheartening, man. It's really disheartening. And I see these businesses, that are literally never going to reopen. They're not. You look yesterday. It was this morning. I dropped my dad off at the hospital, and I took a long way home up Colonial Boulevard 50, and that's just nothing but rows of businesses for miles. And man, it's just out of business. You see these signs everywhere you look. It almost looked like an abandoned mall. There was one particular strip mall that went from one end to the other was completely empty. Nothing in any window. Signs. I couldn't tell what they were saying, but you could see that they're never coming back.
So
That's really disheartening to me as an American. I'm like, wow, man, our leadership. And I'm not talking about Trump because I love Trump to death. It's just in general, our governors, our mayors, our city management, our city lead, they just haven't done a good job.
So what do you think about the fishing industry? What do you think it's going to do to that? Because a lot of our stuff's made overseas, and you see a lot of it coming home.
I'm out of reels completely. All I have is spinning reels now, and some of our new Pescas, and maybe 60 or 70 of the torches left. We have a shipment of 5,000 reels. It's in limbo because what's happening is if the container ship left China, it's going to sit in the port of LA quarantine for 14 to another 45 days. It just depends on the line, how long you sit there. Now, this happened to me when I had my landscaping business in 97 and 98. There was a bunch of embargoes that happened, and it had nothing to do with viruses, but our ship I needed a part for a weed eater, for Christ's sake. It took me 90 damn days to get it because the ship was on lockdown in LA. They wouldn't allow it to come to port. And that's what's happening right now. So the way around it is, which was what we're taking, Cody and I are talking about that today, I'm just flying stuff, and I'll eat the cost on the freight to put it on a plane because there's no passengers anyway. So
Yeah, my dad works for the airline. We know all about that shutdown.
That's the only way to do it. There is no other way to do it. Now, on the other side of that coin, we have had record sales for March and April. So April 15th, we were already double what we were last year in April, same time frame. April 1 to 15th, we were exactly double, okay, within a few $100. But the sad part of that whole deal is we had retail shows in first week of March all the way through the end of April. And Shane was at the Louisiana Sportsman Show on a Friday, and they canceled the show and sent everybody home Saturday and Sunday, and they canceled all the shows for March and April. So while our online sales are going through the roof because, nobody's got anything to do, we took it to shorts, and that's going to take us months to recover from. We were on pace again to do another 50 to 60% growth rate for the company this year, and then this happened. So, last year we went to Amazon, that about killed us. Told Shane it just about took us out of business. Amazon. It's not as great as everybody thinks it is. So it's like 1 year after, it's just one thing after another.
Right.
And so they canceled us. We'll do 100, 150 grand in shows for a month, depending on the month, and they just wiped that away for 2 months, man. Gone, right off the slate. So it's a setback.
Sure.
It really is.
Well, hopefully we can come out on on the positive end of this. I know it'll take us some time to get going. It's not going to be a light switch. It's going to be more of a hose turning on, right, and build up. But hopefully we can get there. I think people will probably get stir crazy, and when business is open, I hope
that's the theory, right?
I hope they spend their money, right?
But where are they going to get the money to spend it?
Yeah.
That's the downside to this. So everybody thinks this, and my buddy, John owns. He's my title sponsor, and he owns Atlantic Payroll. They're a national company, and he says, I'm willing to bet money on the stock market. I said I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
And he said, why? I said, because the people who have money, I'm telling you, are spending it online like crazy right now. They can't go anywhere.
Right.
I see my sales. I know what's not supposed to be happening is happening. It's crazy, right? So when you're seeing that, the people who don't have money, I've also seen the other side where I've heard people say, man, I can't believe I haven't got my stimulus check. How am I going to eat next? I know in Florida, I don't know about where you guys are at, but it was on the news that people weren't even getting their welfare checks and food stamps. So people were actually not eating for 3, 4, 5 days because they're too embarrassed. They don't have any other resources, and they're not even getting their food stamps because everything got so delayed. So, we got to look at both sides of that. Is there somewhere in the middle? I'm not so sure there is. I really don't. I think when things start to reopen, business owners are just not going to see the turn that they're hoping to see. And it might be an explosive thing at first, in the first week or 2 weeks when people get out. But, long term and the rest of the year, I think everybody's going to have to save money and, catch up on bills. And I just don't think it's going to go to the businesses. I'm fully 100% in my heart know that there's a lot of companies that just aren't opening back up. They're just not. And it's
Right.
terrible. It's a terrible thing. That's the last thing you want. We're all Americans, man. We should support each other and want the best for each other,
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah, thanks for your input on all that. We're kind of a lot of uncertainty is all I can say.
Yeah.
Just trying to
As
give
far
day
as
by
the
day
industry
and
goes, I've
take
talked
care of my
to-
family, and that's all.
That's
That's what
right.
we're all trying to do. So
I've talked to several of the sponsors. I don't know about you, Shane, and they're all wondering when the next tournament's even going to happen, and if they're going to have the budget to be able to go to support the elites or support the tour, support BP or any of the other tours that are out there with their service trailers. and
they have to say
everything
it's
else.
hard to hear.
That's a big iffy. I've talked to several people about that. As a matter of fact, one of them today. And you and I run the same motor, so you know who I'm talking about. And, seriously, he says, I don't know if we're going to be able to get out there because they've furloughed so many employees, and the sales just aren't there. It's not like people are out running around buying boat motors and trolling motors and, boats. So they're just not sure where this is going to fall for us and support for us for the remainder of this year. And that's not just from one big sponsor, that's from several of them. So,
Yeah, I didn't know any of that. I haven't talked to anybody.
yeah, I've been on the phone with a bunch of them. Because, they call me, hey, what's going on, how you doing, whatever, blah, blah, blah. That's just buddies. We're all pretty tight, so I try to stay in touch. But at the end of the day, they're all concerned with that because it's hurt their budget. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Budget's
Right.
there, but if there's no income,
No,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, a lot of that's the uncertainty too. So, furlough versus layoff. Furlough is a temporary unemployment, right? So, when this stuff comes back around, if you get furloughed, that's better than being laid off. I mean, they have a
Intentions on bringing you
of
back.
bringing you back.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well, I have intentions of bringing mine back too. I just
Sure.
need to get this thing rolling. I don't
well, we're all in this
like
together.
guys-
Like you said, we're all Americans, so we'll pull each other up, and that's what we do. I mean,
That's what
all
we
the
need to do,
disasters
man.
I've lived through,
Yeah.
not been a bunch, but we always rally around together, and you said we are America. I mean, that's 9/11. That's the most unified I've ever seen our country. So
Yeah. You got to stop fighting, and these people fighting and
Yeah.
bad mouthing the president that support the people that are trying to do the best they can to, I just don't understand it, man. But you can't be negative. Everybody
Sure.
here, we have one thing in common: we're all Americans.
that's
I
right.
don't care if you're Republican, Democrat, leftist. I don't care. We're all Americans. Let's just worry about taking care of each other and making sure we can all pull our country back up and be number one instead of looking like a bunch of disorganized idiots that are fighting each other.
Well, I can tell you what else.
Ready to go.
I can tell you what else I'm worried about is catching a bass right now. And
I ain't worried about it. I'm talking about 300 in the last 4 trips.
well, you live in Florida. That ain't the case up here where we have
We have to work for them up
we
here.
have this much
Oh,
grass.
here we go.
We have to work
This
for them.
much grass.
We had a casting contest a while ago, and I got to telling them about the little deal we had at the Classic about how you and
Oh, yeah.
another guy, I'm not going to mention his name because I don't really want to make him mad, about how you guys were not very good at throwing under docks. And the next question is, well, why are guys from Florida not good at throwing under docks?
Because there are none.
Well, they don't have any. So they could fall in and land on top of the fish. They don't have to work for them.
Oh, God. Man.
That's
You
what he
help me
said.
with the thing out of my back. Something's poking me right in my back here. I don't know what it is.
Well, in the same conversation, though, Jesse, I did tell Shane that he's the only one that I've ever been able to see skip a baitcaster overhand because he's so low to the ground.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
I can skip just as good as Lineberger with a spinning rod, though.
I don't know.
I cannot use a bait caster.
I don't know, Shane. Shane doesn't want to let the secret get out, but he's a Ned rig warrior now.
Oh, man, we know it. Don't we know about that dead rig?
Well, the Ned rig is kind of coming to its own for me, especially. Like I told you, we've been having some little, tournaments that we're putting on, and just kind of invite 8 or 10 guys, and we all go and throw a little money in the hat. And I mean, don't get me wrong, when I say 8 or 10 guys, that those 8 or 10 guys included 3 Bassmaster Elite Series, 2 BPT pros. It was pretty star-studded. I mean, it was
A classic champion and
Yeah,
an
yeah.
FLW Cup champion.
yeah. So we go out there, and I took my dad with me, and we had a really good time. And my dad said, "What is that thing you're throwing?" so my dad got introduced to the Ned rig really, really fast, catching smallmouth the other day. It was a lot of fun.
I seen the pictures. Y'all wrecked them, man.
We did. We sure did.
What lake was that?
That's a little lake in the mountains here, Lake James. That's really the only smallmouth we have within 100 miles of here.
100 miles to you.
Well, yeah. 100 miles for me, probably 150 for these guys.
Broad River's got them.
Yeah, but those don't count. They're like Florida fish. They're dumb.
I remember that next time you come over here screaming because you can't catch 5 fish.
Yeah.
How dumb they are around
I'm
here.
going to be looking for a dock.
Hey, Jesse,
Yeah,
don't worry.
exactly.
I'll remind him. I'll
Yeah,
remind him
thank
when I
you.
see him after the first tournament next year.
Yeah.
But
see,
yeah.
Catch 5.
one's over there.
If he catches 5, they're just like 12 inches.
Yeah.
That's what I know about Florida is there's 10 pounders in there,
Yeah.
but there's a reason why the size limit is 12 inches, and that's because 85% of the ones you catch are that big.
Well, that's how you catch 20 pounds in Florida. You catch 4 rats and 1 great big one.
Yeah, it's I don't know, man. Our fisheries up here are a little different than most. I agree. I hate them, by the way. Shane knows that. I'd rather leave here than fish here. I
Yeah.
don't. Here the problem in Florida is like in 17 I fished the elites, and 18 I took off because I had my neck surgery. And the entire year I fished 8 tournaments with the toughest, like your group. They're the boys that like nobody wants to show up fish against because they just don't want to donate. I averaged 25.73 pounds per derby. I averaged at least 2, sometimes 3, sometimes we had one at 4 trophy catches. Those are fish over 8 pounds per tournament. I had big fish of the year at 12 pounds, and I didn't win a single one. You look at them stats, I never won a tournament. My highest finish was second.
They have stripes on the side of them? Do not count?
No, sir. These are all green.
All green ones. I don't think y'all even have any down there, do you?
Huh?
Y'all have stripers down there?
Yeah, we got them in this actual legit stripers.
Yeah, I was going. Yeah, you
They
got
not
saltwater.
river.
Y'all got but you don't have
They
like stock
migrate.
stripers in landlocked lakes.
Right, no, not in landlocked lakes.
Yeah.
We got them stupid white bass. But right,
Right.
now, the big shad are migrating up the river. The big shad,
Yeah.
4 or 5 pounders, and that's when them giant stripers show up. They're pretty fun.
It's cool.
They're
We
pretty
need,
fun.
we need to go down there and I was watching a show the other day. I can't remember where they were. They were somewhere in Florida and they were whacking peacock bass.
Oh man, I had a reservation to go down with my wife. I was gonna take the camper down there and stay at the lake. I'm not gonna say which lake, but stay right at the lake. You pull the boat up right behind the camper on the bank, run your cord out and charge. You don't even need to load it back up, and they shut down the ranch just 2 days.
Did they really?
Again, yep.
Can-
They keep
can you-
opening and closing, opening and closing.
Where
Can
where
you
is
catch
that at?
Can you catch those in Central
South
Florida?
Florida. Huh?
Can you catch those in Central Florida? Is that, or do you got to go to the southern tip?
Southern.
Southern.
It's not the tip either. Anywhere from about West Palm Beach down south, you can get them.
Okay.
Yeah, Lake Ida or something like Lake Ida. There's Gem, there's Ida, there's like 2 or 3 lakes. You know, the peacock bass strain down there gets about 5 pounds, 5.5 pounds, 6 pounds. You know, big ones a 7 or 8 pounder. But they're on beds right now.
Oh man.
Right now, they're on beds.
I'm guessing you don't.
Sight taking them all day.
I'm guessing you don't have to probably mess with those too much when they're on the bed either.
They're just like a smallmouth. If you throw within 30 feet of that bed, they're gonna go out and get it.
Crazy. I bet they'll buy the Ned rig too.
Oh my God! Yeah, everybody does it.
Nah,
Yeah, but believe it or not, you know what they've been eating? You guys are all gonna laugh when I tell you this is a God knows truth. Chatterbaits under docks. Because all those lakes have residential docks. You gotta
Them-
skip a chatterbait under the dock to get them.
How long-
Them fish would live hard if I was down
If
there.
we left right now, how long would it take us to get
Yeah.
down there?
Yeah, how long does it take us to drive down there? Can we get across the line at the Florida-Georgia line?
Yeah. The only problem is you got 14-day quarantine when you cross the line in Florida.
Well, if they're biting like that, I'll stay 14 days. That's good.
You're quarantined right out in the middle of the lake. I got vacation.
Yeah, they closed all the damn ramps, man. You know we ought to do that, man. We ought to just have a bunch of guys come down and just have fun for a few days over there. There's a real nice hotel right close to it, you know, that you can stay pretty reasonable, and the fish is phenomenal.
I've been trying to get to do that.
Yeah, we
Justin
Justin
Jones. Justin Jones is, he said he would take me over there. We just, man, I just had never been able to get down there to go do that. It's, he's,
he guides those things over there.
yeah, that's what he told me. He said they catch those, and they've even caught a few of those knife clownfish or something.
Clown knife fish that are about yay big.
Yeah.
Where my hands can go in the screen.
Yeah, they're goofy
About
looking
that
things.
wide.
Right.
Yeah, he says when you hook one of those on a topwater plug, you think you got a 400-pound tarpon on for a minute because they're so bad. Yeah, they get so ornery over there. So
That'd be something fun to do, though.
We should have a trash fishing
I want
derby.
to take Danny. My wife's never caught one of those things. I want to take her down there and do it. And,
Yeah, that would
they
be
can do
fun.
that. So, yeah,
Better
it's
be
perfect
careful.
for
She'll
us.
fill up
We
your
got-
room with another trophy.
Huh?
You said you better be careful. She'll fill up your room with another trophy.
That's okay. She's been my butt for 32 years. Continue to do it. But yeah, it's a lot of fun down there with the big peacocks. And you got clown knifefish, peacocks. There's one other one down there. It's a silver one. I forget the name of the thing. It's another one of them exotics that somebody put in from their fish tanks.
Paramima.
Yeah,
Who?
and they got snakeheads too. The big snakeheads.
Arapaima.
Arapaima.
That's what it is. That's what it is. Them big
That's
silver
right.
fish.
Hunt
Never
for the
heard-
big fish right here.
never
Larry
heard-
Dahlberg special.
You go throw a whopper plopper till
Yeah,
one
whopper
bites.
plopper till rip the tail off of it.
Yeah, I want to know, Limburger. Maybe you know why won't fish in Florida eat a whopper plopper?
They will.
Baloney, they will.
Hey, the last time we were at Okeechobee for the Elite Series, when you had that big bag there, was it day 2,
Yeah.
I think it was? Tommy Biffle went by me.
I remember. He told me. Yeah.
Yeah, Tommy
Still didn't
Biffle
have
went
no
by
fish.
me, and that was all he was throwing. And you know how he is, the old grumpy son of a gun. I won't bite of it, this damn whopper plopper.
Yeah, right.
Kept right on going.
Clifford Perch made that year. The last
Yeah, he
year
did at the St. John's.
Yeah,
He caught a 10-pounder with that whopper plopper.
yeah.
Yep.
And he lost some other ones on. He made the final day throwing a whopper plopper.
It's a Jody.
We got a
Hey,
question.
no secret talking over there. No secret talking over there. I see.
Nah,
We got
I think something just blew up out there.
a question. Sounds like we got a gunfight in the parking lot too.
Get your gun and go out there and join it.
Yeah, go over and check it. I hope.
Get out there.
I just hope that nobody hit my truck.
Well, they can't miss it. That's for sure.
Yeah,
What's Jody's question?
Yeah, I like his truck.
yeah, I do too. I just need to. I need to raise it up just a little bit. Put a 11 kit on it. Something to give it a little more beefy look.
I like
My
it too.
lease is up December, so I ain't getting another one.
Yeah.
It's over. It's 3 years. I'm done. I've had that truck 3 years this December.
Have you really?
Yes, sir.
You drive a Tundra
Wow.
too, Jesse?
Yeah.
Do you?
He don't tow with it. He has one, but he doesn't tow with it.
No.
I tow locally with it.
Well, I mean on the road.
No, on tour I don't. Because I got a camper. So I have a 1165 Eagle Cap. And chainsaw, it's as big as a dang. Oh, you ain't been in it yet, have you, Shane?
No, not the new one.
Yeah. So I have to have a 1-ton dually to even pull that thing around.
So what do you? So how does that work? Do you tow? I always wondered that. And I've never asked anybody this question. So the guys that camp that tow a camper.
No, stop. We don't
Yeah,
tow campers.
I was getting ready to
Okay.
say most of them don't
On
tow.
the bed of the truck.
They have
Oh,
They
I
have
got you.
slide ins.
Okay.
The ones that use fifth wheels and stuff like that, usually their wife or whatever will pull the fifth wheel
And they'll tow the boat.
and they tow the boat or
Okay.
vice versa. However,
All right,
they
so yours is like a pop up camper in the.
no,
No.
his is like a no,
You
his
tell
is
yeah, open up a window in your computer and type in Eagle Cap 1165.
Eagle Cap 11.
Yeah, so here's what I did. I had a
65.
Cirrus 820 last year, and it was a small, no-slide camper. And Shane would come over, and we'd have to rub butts trying to walk around in there. I said, this ain't gonna happen no more. So I told my wife, I'm gonna get me a bigger camper.
that's nice.
Dang, here's a
Yeah.
38-minute video on a walkthrough of one.
Oh, yeah.
We don't
So I
have
said,
time
I'm
for
gonna
all
go
that.
buy a big one. Well, I bought the biggest one made, period. And it's got 3 slides, it's 23 feet long, and 17 foot across when it's wide open.
Holy cow!
So
It's a big old
the St.
sucker.
John's River, we had Quentin Keplo, Tyler Carrier, his dad, old Skipper, and who else was in there? My wife and myself inside that camper, all sitting talking. No problem.
Hey, speaking of Quentin, when we get done with this, how about sending me his phone number?
Sure. I talked to him today.
Did you?
Doing all right. Well, they shut his gym down there, and his restaurant's only doing takeout.
Yeah,
So he's not excited.
I'm sure.
Let this thing rolling again,
I'm sure.
So yeah.
That camper might be big, but I guarantee you they can still hear you snoring in it.
Probably.
Well, I know they can me for sure. So I've already been told that. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that one right there, though,
Fall asleep faster than Shane, so I don't have to listen to him.
that one goes to sleep on command.
Does it really?
Oh, yeah. When he says, I'm going to sleep, don't try to talk to him. He's asleep.
Dang, man. I
It
wish I
takes
could
like
do
2
that.
seconds.
That's what you gotta do, man.
The first time we stayed anywhere together, I don't remember where it was at. It's been a couple years ago. He said, all right, man, I'm going to sleep. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Well, a couple minutes later, I say something to him. Nothing. I'm like, what's he doing? I look over there. That son of a gun's out. Gone.
I did that to Aaron too. I was at the hotel with Aaron at the class a couple years back, and I said, he's talking, because Aaron will stay up till late, I said, Aaron, I'm going to sleep. Oh, come on, man, blah, 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 blah. I said, Aaron, I'm going to go to sleep. I rolled over and went to sleep. He kept talking. The next morning, he says, God, man, I must talk to you for like 5 minutes, and all of a sudden I hear it. I said, I told you I was going to sleep, bro.
Yeah, I can't do that. I wish I could.
Yeah, it's a talent, man. It's a talent. In
Yeah.
reality, man, the camp life, once I got my little camper and I'm on my own and I'm cooking, you're eating healthier, you're running your own routine. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So once I got that, I thought, I wanted my wife to come out more, but Shane remembers it's doable for a couple, my other camper, but this one here, man, you can leave and it's got its own bedroom. Like I close it and she don't even know I'm there. She keeps sleeping. It doesn't bug her any. And there's a lot to be said about that. You know, a full-size bathroom with shower, separate. It's not a wet bath, it's a dry bath, not a wet bath. So it's got a shower, toilet, sink, everything, just like at your house. And I don't feel bad leaving because my wife has all the amenities in there,
Right.
just like if she would at the house. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
My
for
other
sure.
one, she was kind of cramped and stuff, but this time I got this big one because now when it's raining out, I can walk in, do my gear. I'm not in the hotel parking lot in the rain or waiting for it to stop raining. I just grab my stuff and go on the camper. Turn
Right.
the TV on, crack open a beer, and I'm working on my gear. You know, and I love to cook, so I'm always cooking up something, whether it's in a crock pot or marinating beef or chicken or whatever. When I get back, I throw it on the grill. It's just a routine that you develop.
So the first day, the first day when you get down there, you just launch the boat and then like beach it at the camp. Is that what you do?
You pull up. Usually, I can be unloaded, set up. Like I've timed it. I don't know how many times, but no longer than 30 minutes. Even my old camper, they're all the same. So pull in, drop the boat off next to your campsite.
Right.
Back in your camper, wherever you're going to park it. Unload it, pull the truck out from under it, drop it back to the ground. It'll drop almost to the ground. Go hit you up my boat, park it right next to my camper. I'm done. That's it. Or leave. Usually, I just pick up, leave, go fix.
Okay, so the camper comes off the truck.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I was missing. Camper comes off the truck. Okay.
Right.
So you hook up your water, you hook up your sewage and your electricity, turn on your AC or your heat, whatever it is, if it's cold or whatever, and then off you go. You're done, ready to go, man. I mean, the
Sounds
refrigerator-
way better than a hotel room.
It is way better than a hotel
I
room.
got a full-size fridge in this one, so I can store a lot of food. I usually get there on a Saturday and go grocery shop, get settled in, so I'm not
Sure.
hurried up. And go grocery shopping. I mean, it's just a nice thing, and you're not counting on hotels for plugs and chargers and not charging. Shane and I have been running around like clowns looking for somewhere to charge a boat because we run into a hotel. It might only have 2 outlets, or and it's a half a block away in the parking lot.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
Crank
Not
that
anymore.
generator
That's
up.
right.
Yeah, you turn on that champion generator, see how that works real good over there to the hotel for a while.
I carry one in the truck with me everywhere I go now.
And you're right, you have to. You don't have a choice, And the good thing is our lithium pros charge up pretty quick, so it doesn't take 10 hours to do them.
Yeah, that was wild. Last time I fished you at Murray and you plug them up, I think they were on the charger for about 45 minutes or an
Yeah.
hour, and they were all green. I couldn't believe it. And that was after
Yeah,
fishing.
You running the new power pole charger?
I am. I got one about a month ago, and that is an awesome thing.
Yeah.
It's an awesome thing to be able to pull up your phone, and you can, you have to download the Seamonster app, and you can look at everything about the battery. It tells you everything going on with the battery, how much, how many volts you have in it. You can even move the power around to wherever you want it to go. If you want it to go to your trolling motor battery or your cranker batteries, whatever, you can move that power. It's kind of cool, make it charge whichever one needs it the most. I like it. It's nice.
You talking
Well,
about on the
I don't know if
alternator?
You know the feature that's on that app.
What's that?
It's a starting feature.
Yeah.
So you move it over 5 minutes, you wait, turn the key, and it'll fire up. So you can take the power from the 36-volt batteries, put it over the 12 through its integration that it has, so it doesn't blow up your boat, and turn the key so you're never stranded. That's the beautiful. You'll never ever be stranded.
That's the emergency start in it that they talk
it's
about?
a pretty neat deal. And it's all operated off your phone.
Yeah.
Literally, it's a start feature on your phone, and it takes power through its conversion, takes it from 36 back to 12, charges to 12. 5 minutes is all you need. So you don't do nothing for 5 minutes. And turn the key and off you go.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Can't beat that.
And it can charge all the batteries, lithium,
Oh, yeah.
AGM, even
Yeah.
even down to the normal leads.
Yeah, a lot of the guys have, gel or lead on the starting battery and then a couple lithiums over here. It doesn't matter. When they set it all up, you can dictate what it does to what. And, it's just a real neat system. And Shane and I are fortunate. We're both sponsored by Lithium Pros, and we're both sponsored by Power Pro. And that charger was developed between Power Pro and Lithium Pro.
That's cool. I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's where that charger came from and birthed from those batteries and that company working together. So we're fortunate to be able to run both, and it's a pretty neat little deal. I mean, I love this thing.
Yeah, me
35
too.
minutes An hour, you're full charge, you're ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, that's awesome. And those lithium batteries, I've heard they got their about 10 years. I've heard pros are actually moving them from boat to boat to boat.
I'm running the same ones I ran last year.
Are you?
Yeah, the miners,
Uh-oh.
yeah.
Oh, there he is.
They don't, yeah. I've run in 3 different boats. Because nobody will buy them at the end of the year. They don't want to spend that extra money.
Right.
You sell your boat. And I'm not going to give them away. You know. And that Charger now is $1,300. Shane, is what that thing retails for.
Yeah, it's rough.
You used to run the old Walmart batteries because you could just replace them in the middle of the night.
Yep.
I'll never forget when the Walmart associate at your local Walmart there, you have to return them every 6 months.
Yep, I never will. The last time I did that, I went in there with them in the buggy, and the same lady was there, and she said, "Can I help you?" I said, "Yeah, I need to swap these batteries out." I handed her the receipt. She said, "We just swapped them out 6 months ago." I said, "Yeah, and we swapped them out the 6 months before that, and the 6 months before that." And she looked me dead in the face. She said, "Well, maybe these batteries just aren't for you."
Yeah, where were they? The Everstarts or something?
That was when they were Everstarts, yeah.
Yeah, from Walmart. Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I never had very much luck with them damn things.
No, I didn't either. That's been many moons ago.
Yeah. I had luck with interstates, using those batteries for a long time, but you know, these lithium pros just outperform, and it's worth the money. I try to tell my buddies, guys, it's worth it's an investment. It's not
Yep.
something that, you know, you're throwing your money in your boat or, you know, a lure or rod or reel. This is an investment in equipment in your boat that's going to be there for a long time. You know, not everybody. Listen, I'm the first guy. We fish the elites. I get it. You know, we got sponsors and blah, 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 blah. But I'd rather keep my bass boat 2 or 3 years than every year swap out a boat. Because by the time, like, I'm still working out the bugs in my new one this year. And I'm already 6 months into the darn thing. Well, my last one I had perfect. And boom, you got to get rid of it. So there's no bugs. You know, you get in, you fire it up, you go down the road, and you're done. You know? Well, I don't like having to swap boats constantly. So, you know, for a guy with lithiums that keeps his boat 3, 4, 5, 6 years, the average guy keeps his boat like 5 years. You get your money's worth because at the end of the 5 years, you sell the boat, and you put them same batteries right back in your new boat.
Yep.
You don't have to worry about it. Keep on going. So you got more than your money's worth. Because you're going to go through a set of batteries every year if you're fishing right.
I feel like he's talking directly to me.
He probably is. We had this conversation the other day. Yeah, Brandon has a 921 Phoenix that has like every electronic option in the world on it. And he told me the other day, he said, "I think I'm gonna have to get some new batteries. These are starting to flash." And I look around. Well, there's 2 HDS 12s on the console. At the front, there is a HDS 16 and a 10-inch Garmin Panoptics, and the battery. It don't understand why the batteries is flashing.
And he's got 24 series battery.
Yeah,
Oh no, there's a 31 in
In
there.
your pocket, right? Yeah.
but he's just I'll try to tell him he's just gonna have to bite the bullet and do it. And once he does, he'll be happy. I've tried to, you know, it is a big investment to begin with, but guys like me especially, I was going through 2 sets of lead acid batteries a year. Well, now a decent lead acid battery is $180.
Yeah.
So I mean, you know, if you look at it, if I go through, what is it, 4 of those? That's you talking about $800 a set. That's $1,600 a year, and you still got to keep replacing them.
Well, if you need them, Brandon, call me. I'm a dealer for Lithium Pros. So
I'm gonna wait till
I
those
can
ones
brother
fall
up,
out.
you know?
I'm gonna wait till those ones fall out of Shane's boat on warranty.
all I can tell you, man, is Shane made the elites the year that my batteries killed me on Erie. You remember that, Shane?
Yep.
I went through 4 Humminbird units a day for 3 straight days. They were the old Onyxes. And 3 cranking batteries. And there's nothing like getting out in Peely Island with 7-footers and all of a sudden all your machines go down. And then you're afraid you can't turn your boat. Let me tell you, not 1 day, but 6 days, and I had old Moombatsi with me, old Bill. And he wasn't happy. You know, you go out there, it takes an hour and a half to get out there, and you sit down in your first spot, and your machines ain't. And I'm telling you, it was so rough. You remember that whole practice, the whole tournament?
The whole thing was bad. That's as scared as I've ever been fishing in my life. I tell that story all the time. I never will forget the second day of the tournament. We stayed in a little campground, and me and two other guys, and we stayed in those little cabins. And I woke up the second morning of the tournament, and all I could hear was whistling. And I was like, man, what is that? And it was the wind. You go out there, and there's a small craft advisory, and the wind blowing 30.
Yep.
Guess what? We're going fishing.
Yep.
Man,
Yep.
I called my dad. I have this little ritual. I call my dad when I'm on the road fishing. I call him every morning on the way to the boat ramp.
I know you do.
Well, I called him that morning, and I said, Dad, I'm just gonna let you know, it's pretty bad. So I told him, I said, I'll call you when I get, when I got back inside there. It's what, isn't that Cedar Point? Isn't that the park up there?
We were at. Yep.
Yeah. Well, I called him at 1 o'clock, and just to let him know I was still alive.
Yeah. These guys, if you don't have any experience out there, it'll spook you. It'll spook you. I had an 8-footer break over the top of my head when I was sitting there ready to start getting moving. I
Yep.
just sat down and I looked over and it broke and it literally landed on my back. I just ducked. And there's nothing like getting 1,000 gallons of water across the back of your bald head. I'm telling you, cold, nasty. And the boat, I had a 920 Phoenix, and it filled up damn near to the brim. I'm like, oh crap. So yeah, it was 7 days of that practice. We never had a break.
What were you running in?
I was running a FX20 Skeeter. Woo!
Yeah.
Oh, I seen a guy out there at the helicopter pad in a Nitro Z7.
He was a local.
He was crazy is what he was. He was glutton
Yeah.
for punishment. He was trying to die.
He's all right.
Yeah.
He's local.
Well,
He made
if
it.
you remember that tournament, 2 boats sank
Yep.
on Peely Island.
Yep.
Remember? They got
That-
thrown up on the rocks and stuff.
Was that
And
the
old
Elite Series or
Charlie
was
No,
that?
that was the Open.
I
That was the
remember that.
Bass Open.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
that.
Charlie Evans told me he damn near lost his boat over a battery. He was out there, one of his trolling motor batteries got beat up so bad, the cells touch, it shorts out the whole battery. And he said, I'm in 5-footers throwing, up and down, and all of a sudden I go up and there's nothing. He said, I wasn't 15 feet from the edge of the bank at Peely, and there's 8-footers crashing. He said, by the time I got down to my boat and put it in reverse, he almost ripped the front of the trolling motor off because it had gotten so shallow. It spun the front around to the shallow side. He says, I slammed it in reverse, and that trolling motor was banging, trying to get it off the rocks. It was that fast. He says, I thought I literally was going to sink. I had no life jacket, didn't care. I needed to get that boat off the rocks.
Well, who was that guy? Mark Scram, whatever, local guy up there. He sank his boat the first day, went and borrowed his buddy's boat the second day and sank it too.
Yeah. So what's the lesson there, Shane?
Yeah. You better have some
Don't
good
let him
buddies.
borrow anybody's boat. Yeah.
You better have some good buddies. You're gonna start sinking their stuff.
Yeah. Well, I seen that Skeeter sunk on St. Clair.
Yeah.
Those 2 guys that were hanging off the buoy there, I went right by them.
They were on the buoy in the shipping channel.
Yeah. And, and so any one of those Great Lakes it can happen on,
Yep.
But it
Well,
it's.
Was that 2 years
that's
ago
the
we went
thing,
up
I
there?
don't know.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun, man.
That Saturday
So-
we spent all day in the hotel room playing golf class.
Yeah. I took Brandon up there for his first and only trip to St. Clair, and we went. It was in September, wasn't it?
Yes.
It was September,
early
October.
September.
It was that time frame where it's really iffy. And I told him when we went up there, I said, man, there may be, we may get to go, we may not. And the first day up there, we took Brandon's boat. I don't think I had
You didn't
one.
have one
I
at the
think
time.
I'd sold mine. But we took his boat up there, and me just being the jackleg I am, I let him drive. We took off across the ramp, across the water, And man, he speared about the 3rd wave, and he's laughing. He's laughing going on. And I looked over there at him. I said, I'm glad somebody thinks this is funny.
Man,
Yeah,
I-
Brandon. We don't spear waves, Brandon.
well,
That's how you die, man.
a lot of the guys, I've never been on a big lake like that, and the waves didn't look that big, right? I mean, they weren't huge, but they're just spaced different, and I didn't, it wasn't any rougher than the lakes around here, right in the middle of the summertime. The difference is though, well, I can tell you they're probably about 25 feet apart.
Yeah, the boat's 22 feet long. That's right.
So I went over the
24
first one.
feet, 9 inches long.
That's right.
So I went over the first one, and it hit kind of high on the bow, and I was like, okay, that's all right. And then the coming down the second one, I didn't, because Shane was coaching me on how to, feather the hot foot to drive over those waves, and well, I didn't get that second one right. The first one was just luck, and it hit, and it didn't look like a whole bunch of water at first, but it just kept coming. And I remember turning my head and looking at Shane as it hit him. It knocked his hat off and his sunglasses up, and he's spitting water out. And it was funny. And we've told this story a couple times.
Yeah.
But I'm laughing.
It's still funny.
He's searching for his stuff, and he looks at me and he goes, well, I'm glad somebody thinks it's funny.
He's saying got slapped by a 5-footer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's not good.
But we had a good time and caught some fish. And
Saturday we couldn't go.
Yeah,
went out
Saturday
there
we couldn't
Saturday,
go.
It looked like you might as well drop us in the Pacific Ocean in a hurricane.
Yeah.
I mean it. Well, we did. We went and hid, and we went up to the
we went
Bridge?
to Huron. We went up
Yeah.
there to the Black River and put in at Huron.
We've done that. Hell, you and I did that.
Yeah. Well, we did the same thing, and we caught a few, but not many. But the next day we went out on St. Clair, and we made the whole trip worthwhile.
Yeah.
The next day.
in about 2 hours.
You know, I grew up on Lake Mead, and the difference, I tell people Lake Mead is rougher than the Great Lakes in many ways, and I don't mean it size of waves or any of that. We all know that Lake Erie can get 25, 30 foot. It sinks 800 footers, okay?
Right.
So, there's no, that place is no joke. But Lake Mead's a canyon lake. So what happens is you have this wide expanse, like, in the Narrows, or in the Virgin Basin, and it's 30, 40 miles across, and you get a 40 or 50 mile an hour wind blowing across that, and it funnels, right? And it funnels, because the lake's narrowing down. And by the time you hit the Narrows, you'll have 16, 17 foot waves. And they're stacked. They're not spread apart where you can run them and negotiate your way around. I mean, you got to stop and think for a minute, like, do I really want to go there? Yeah.
I don't need to think about it.
Yeah, Stan Grazzini, I don't know if you guys even remember who Stan was. He's an old pro back when John Murray and myself were all out west. And he'd come out of the Narrows, and you remember the old X16 paper graphs?
I have one.
Oh, you still do? Okay, they're
Yep.
weighing about 9 pounds,
I love
And,
those things.
On the Rangers, the little 361s and stuff, we'd mount them right on top, And luckily for Stan, he had a helmet, full face helmet on. He'd be a dead man if he didn't. He'd come around the corner at the Narrows, and you can't tell. You're running 65 back then. You were hauling tail at 65. And you round that corner.
In a 17
there's
and a
a
half
road.
foot boat.
Yeah. And he hit a rogue 6 or 7 footer and launched him. And when he landed in 6s and 8s. So who knows how combobulated, he got. But his face smashed that Lowrance paper graph, obliterated it. It like exploded. All that's there is a couple of chunks of plastic. And they had to rush him, fight for life. He broke his neck and 3 vertebrae. And
Holy cow.
Something that you're just peacefully driving,
Yeah.
normal, flat, calm.
And the
you
bottom
turn
dropped
just
out of you.
one point, and you don't even know the wind's blowing in there. That's why I say it's dangerous. It's, I can't tell you how many times I've been across that place and seen boats split in 2, top cat off. And I remember one Skeeter, we were coming across the basin in a All-American, or in a Red Man, what do you call it, dang fish off the end of the year, not the championship, but the regional. And I come by and I seen one guy standing by the driver, standing in 10 footers. And I said, something's wrong with that guy. Let's go over there and see. I had some time to get in for I already had my fish. I pull over. He says, we're all right. And as he says it, I see him come off the bottom of the floor, a 1.5 foot or so, and the console with him, while the driver's trying to hold it down and trying, because the little Starfires, he broke the console clean off the thing, and he's trying to drive it back in. It's crazy. I seen a glass straw hit a wave, and only the top cap come off. So he went in and speared it. It did this. So he went in, and all you saw is this, and the guy sitting there, and you look over, and there's a guy sitting there, and that boat's just sinking. Oh, it's so I've seen some crazy stuff out there and speared my fair share of waves, Brandon. So don't feel bad, but I've learned not to do that anymore.
Yeah, I learned after that second day. I was a little gun shy after that. I made Shane drive us back. The third day, I was all right. Third day, I figured it out. Now, I'm not going to say I'm going to go up there and be a pro again. We're going to get a chance to go because the rules have said since I've only been on that lake with you.
Since you've only been on the lake with me, yes, you
can
can
go
go.
again.
Exactly right.
So we're going to go again whenever Michigan unlocks whatever they got going on. Their whole state's all
I'm
locked
ready to
down.
go, man. I'm ready. I think they're going to kill that governor if that stuff keeps up there.
Yeah.
Woo-wee.
But talking about those old paper graphs, man, I liked those things because this lake out here, Lake Wiley, I'm pointing right over here, is notorious for you finding them the day before and you go back the next day and they are gone. And I like those old paper graphs then because, with what we have now, if they aren't there, your buddy's looking at you like, yeah, right, whatever, you caught them here, blah. Well, with this paper graphs, I can roll it out. See, they were right here.
If you think about it, when I was growing up, we would write notes because you could stop it, open the screen up and write.
Yep.
Yep.
And we would write notes. And when I married my wife, even until I moved to Florida in 1996, I had boxes of rolls that all full of notes on particular days,
Yeah.
whatever the water temperature was. So instead of having a fishing log, I had it all on my rolls. And I had those all by month. I know it's crazy, but I had it organized that way where I could open it up. Or I had, small rolls where you took off a piece.
Right.
You kept that note. Said, look, the fish were setting up this way. This December I won this tournament doing this, blah, 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 blah. We didn't have GPS back then. Everything was triangulated or, you just had to kind of remember. Our memory was so much better back then. The old joke is now listen, Shane, I'm 51 years old. I know I'm older than all of you. But I guarantee you I had at least 25 girls' phone numbers memorized in my head at any given time, all through high school and after. Did you not, Shane?
Nope, I didn't. I'd never do that.
Yeah.
Shane married his high school sweetheart.
Yeah, back
Jesse.
then, that was all we had to do was remember it.
And I know 25.
That's right.
And I know 25 is a lie because it'd have taken you forever on that rotary thing just to dial one.
Hey, we had push buttons too, dude.
That's right. I remember when we got our first push button phone. I do.
Party line.
Wasn't that cool? But
You didn't have to sit there and that stupid rotary thing. Yeah.
and try to tell your buddy how to triangulate on a brush pile or a drop. No, that rock that's up there or that cactus that's over here, and after you're looking around, go, what in the world is he talking about?
I still use that. Triangulation, I still use it.
Yeah, but that's how we grew up fishing. You didn't have a choice. That was it. So, it was a whole different thing. And now, it's funny, I read an article not too long ago. People think they're getting absent-minded and they think they're, forgetful and this and that and the other, and it's not. We have brain overload. And that's exactly what's happening nowadays. And they said they took it just 10 years ago. And they said just 10 years ago, you didn't have half of what you have in your mind right now. You didn't have to remember that kind of stuff.
You know what?
It was a lot more simple,
I need you to send me that article because I'm going to show it to my wife next time I forget to do something.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
Yeah, brain overload.
Why didn't you do it? Here you go. Read this.
Brain overload.
CC me on that
Now,
one,
it ain't an
please.
excuse to
Paragraph
act
3 in the essay. There's it.
Yeah, it's just, if you think about it, all the information we get all day long, our cell phones, our computers, everywhere you go, it's information.
Right.
No wonder you can't remember what the hell you had for breakfast, it's an information overload, so our brains are like full capacity, I think anyway, for the average person, that's what the article is referring to, of course, there's always the exceptions, but.
Well,
I
the
know
next
that-
time we're fishing a tournament and I can't figure out how to catch them, that's what I'm going to tell you. Man, I knew I used to know how to do this. I'm on brain overload right now.
Hey, next time I'm fishing tournament, I'm not answering my phone if any one of you call me. Just
That'll
not
probably
doing it.
help you a little bit there. Yeah, man.
I like these excuses. Keep them coming, man. We need to do this more often.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not good
Well,
at getting
listen.
out of stuff.
I can say one thing that I'm really excited for. I don't know about Shane, but I'm really excited. So we're going to be the first elites in the history of the entire Bassmaster existence that are going to fish elite events in the fall.
Yep.
And
I
that
can't-
just has never happened.
Man, I am
There's
looking.
a chance you can go to the winter, isn't there?
Yeah,
Is there a chance?
I am. I'm really, really looking forward to that. You know, it's I mean, that's kind of the way I like to fish. I mean, you know, it's going to be a lot of top water and things like that, and it's not going to be who.
It's
who
going to be
can-
a lot of grinding. is
Yeah,
what
it's going to be a grind. It's not going to be who can go down the bank and find 55 of them on the bed. It's going to be who can catch them.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, I had that conversation with Steve Bowman yesterday. You know, I told him, I said, I'm not trying to say that the only thing anybody knows how to do is bed fish. What I'm trying to say is that those guys are much better at bed fishing than I am.
No, you see, the elites and everybody have been conditioned to learn how to bed fish.
That's true.
Every year it's the same schedule. The lakes may change plus or minus a little bit, but it's the same time frame, the same areas of the country you go. You don't ever fish a fall tournament in the South where you have to work and earn your way through it.
Yeah, but a lot of that's for the fans. You got to understand that too.
It is, but I tell you, I would really, really like to see Bass look into that as a regular tournament. You know, as far as trying to just cram them all into when they're on the bed. I mean, I know that it makes for better television. It makes for better live.
But does it?
It does. There's, you know, people love to see that.
They want to see big bags too.
They want to
I mean,
see
we've
that-
talked
yeah,
about that before.
they want to
So
see
the
that
whole
30-pound
Major League Fishing
bag.
thing. You know,
Yeah.
it's a dink fest, and then they
Yeah.
immediately said, "Well, all right, we're going to 2-pounders." And
Yeah.
it's been a lot better this year,
Yeah.
right? So when you get in the fall, and it takes 9-10 pounds to make the final day,
That's right.
and the guy's winning's got 13 pounds a day, that's a lot different than it taking, I mean, Century Clubs to win in,
Yeah.
in
You're
April.
absolutely 100% on the money.
And I mean, we're all in business, right? It's
That's
all
right.
about the money. So the more viewers they get, and the more fans they have follow, the more people invest, more people buy stuff.
But why can't we have our tournaments? You know, have the early tournaments.
Have a split season, you know, split the season.
Yeah.
I would love to see that. I would love to see that for sure.
You know,
So-
if we had one or two in the fall that wasn't up north.
Yeah.
You know, every time they have one in the fall, they want to go up north. Well, we all know that the worst possible time to go up north is in the fall, because the weather up there is especially, you know, different than what it is here. Here in the fall, it's starting to cool off, and the seasons are changing. Well, up there, when the seasons start changing up
They
there,
start biting.
the wind turns and blows out of the north, and you're lucky if you could even get out.
Yeah.
Much less go fish a tournament.
So I will say this, you know, we all grew up as fishing fans, and I really liked it when the Classic was at the end of the season, because it was really tough, and FLW
Yeah.
did the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
The Cup was always in
The fall.
August, July. I mean,
It's dead hot as it can be.
Hard.
But I mean, I get the reason for going away from that is fish care.
Yeah,
And you
I
know,
understand
we all
that.
need to.
Yeah.
And we all know I've had that conversation with a lot of guys around here, especially with the stuff that they're doing at Lake Norman right now, and I've really made a lot of people mad over this thing at Lake Norman. That's fine; they can just be mad. I really don't care. But you know, bass is on a much bigger scale than just Lake Norman. You can't go out and kill kill a lot of the fish,
Right.
because there's a lot of repercussion that goes with that. So that being said, let's just hold it off until the fall. Have it the middle of March to the middle of November, something like that.
Yeah.
You know, I think that would be. You're not gonna have those giant bags of fish, but it's gonna make people fish differently.
The fall can still produce big bags.
Yeah, but not like the
It's
spring.
not as easy, but it can produce it if you fish for it.
Yeah. I've never seen a lake that's fabulous in September.
Me neither.
No.
That's, September, October, traditionally the toughest months of the entire year. They're worse than June, July, August. It don't matter. November it starts to turn and get a little better, and we're going to roll right into November. We're absolutely going to roll into November, December this year.
Yeah.
Well, in September and October, you're 75% of the lake's turning over. You can't even fish it.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting to hear. You know, I mean, that stuff that a lot of the fans would. It would be really cool as a fan to hear the commentary behind those tournaments in the fall talk about the things that you guys have to
Yeah.
overcome, like fault, like turnover, and
Oh, yeah.
I mean that's the biggest one, turnover. The thermocline's gone. Just how the turnover is going to change based on the wind and it blow out your areas, because you
That's
hear
right.
about that in the springtime, right? When it's like, well, it was muddy over there and it blew all my
Blew
stuff
all
out.
the mud, yeah.
Well, you got to fight the turnover. They dropped the water 2 feet,
Oh,
getting
yeah.
ready for winter pool.
The lower the better, baby.
That type of stuff. But, I mean,
Just
those
a
are
lot
the
more
things that,
practice.
yeah, those are the things that, unless you're out there in the fall and fish and understand that stuff, you're not going to hear about it, right?
That's right.
So it would just be cool to see the world's greatest stage have to overcome those obstacles the same way we do when it's not a dang slugfest.
Right.
Right, right. Well, I'll tell you what, even Florida, Cody and I and George and I won 2 ABA regionals on Toho back-to-back years, okay, the team tournament. And the one year we won for 2 days with 26.5 pounds, and Cody and I won the second one. It was a little better because it was a little later into October, and we won that one with 2 days for, I think, 38 pounds, which is pathetic in Florida.
So that's
George and I struggled to catch a 3-pounder every day as a kicker.
that's a 2-day tournament, right?
Huh?
That's a 2-day tournament, right? So
2 minutes.
about 15 pounds a day is what you're saying. Well, 13 for one, and
the
then
first one with George was 12 something. We
Yeah.
had 24.5 pounds to win it for 2 days, and it was dead in the middle of September.
yeah.
And then the following year, Cody and I won it, and that was like early October type of deal with a flip bite. It had a little bit of a cold front, and we caught 25 pounds one day off one mat. Sat there all day, pitching 2 ounces break. By the end of the day, it was 100 little mats. I mean, we broke them. That ain't no joke, man. And then, the next day, we only had about 13 pounds. So we had like 38 pounds for 2 days, and we won by a landslide,
Right.
by 14, 15 pounds, just because I found that one magic mat.
I was gonna say, if you had 25 pounds on one day, you probably didn't have to weigh in the second day.
No, we didn't. To be honest, we didn't. I just didn't want to brag about it, but really, we won by, we didn't even have to get out of bed, because Cody's lazy to fish, and he told me, he says, man, if we'd known this, I'd just stayed at the house today. Oh, okay. He just, he's a good fisherman. He just doesn't. He's not a 5 o'clock in the morning guy.
Right.
He'll
I
go
understand
fish at
that.
9 o'clock and take a break at lunch and then come back to the house about 4. He's fine.
Hey, let me ask you this. We were talking a minute ago about Florida fishing and all that bunch of stuff. When we have tournaments there, it's like tradition that Bass and FLW or whoever it may be seems to go earlier every year. We're looking at end of January, 1st of February. In your opinion, what is the best month to fish in Florida?
May.
Exactly. Why can't we go to Florida in May when the
They
big
are
ones
fishing.
are biting?
Yeah. I tell you what. When I had 38 pounds in 18, I had 38.12, 5 fish. I didn't even get a check. How'd you like to weigh that in and not get a check with 70 boats?
I'd be happy.
I was till about 3 o'clock.
I'd still be happy.
Well, the guy comes in with 45, another guy 44 something, 44, 43, 42, 40, 40, 40. You're like, well, I was close. They pay 1 in 10 places, so you only get 6 or 7 places. So there was a dozen guys at 38 pounds or better that day.
That's
2
post-spawn.
12-pounders, 2 12s, another
Brim
12,
eaters.
another 11.
That was in May.
Yeah, that was a May tournament. Yeah, they're all on the grass lines. The Bobby Lane Cup. I'll never forget that tournament. That was like in, I want to say 16 or something. And 200 boats, all the kids. It's a lot of fun. You go out there and support them. It's the biggest event of the year in Florida, period, for all the kids. And I remember Van Souls, who won the Open there.
I know Van.
He and his brother, and I pulled up, and Bobby pulled up. And old big head Bobby says, y'all better caught him, man. Y'all better caught him. And Van and I looked at each other, and I didn't tell Van what I had, and Van didn't tell me what he had, but he said, you catch him? I said, yep, that generally means you're over 35 pounds, And I said to Bobby, you got 35? He goes, oh yeah. And he said, look what I just caught before I come in here. And he pulls one about 11 and a half pounds. And man looked right at him and said, "We got two bigger than that." Bobby, shut the hell up. You better go do your DJing or whatever. Keep your mouth shut, son. He went in a 1394 and a 1213.
Good Lord.
Now, you want to know, there was two flips. Same map.
Back to
That's
back.
Absolute truth. Absolute fact. Yep, he flipped in there, put his power poles down, flipped in there, hooked the 14-pounder, got it to the boat while he was unhooking all that. His brother flipped right in there and hooked the other one.
That's crazy.
So in Florida,
St.
it's
Clair.
really just that's why I hate fishing here, because you can have a great day like I did, and you're not catching any big ones, 8, 9, 10 pounder, but you're catching a lot of them. And somebody will just smoke you because they catch that freak 12 or 13 or 14 pound fish. Like at Kenansville the other day, a guy caught 2 over 14. Granted, they were on shiny, but 2 over 14, man. Where else can you just go? That's the part that I don't like, and I've been the lucky guy. I've been that lucky guy that pulls into the right spot. I did it with Cody. I did it in another tournament where I made 3 flips and caught a 10-something, a 10-something, and an 8-something on 3 flips on a shad spawn, I've been that guy, and I've blown everybody's doors off, but that's once in, all these years. It just doesn't happen all the time, and that's the part. Anybody can be lucky in Florida with a 1-day derby. I'd rather have 3- and 4-day derbies where you have to consistently pattern this fish. That makes sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and that's what I like about where you guys fish. And Shane knows it. Shane and I roomed for a whole year. I'd love to fish away from Florida because you have to grind it. You have to figure something out. And you're not going to get lucky and catch a 10-pounder. It's just, they don't exist most of the places we
Well, if you catch 10-pounder here, you got real lucky.
You got that right.
Yeah.
If you catch an 8 here, you got real lucky.
Where
did
is
that
that
to you
one
once.
place y'all had where
You
that
did.
couple was whacking them 40-pound sacks?
That was a
somewhere
Harris.
couple years ago.
Sharon Harris.
Yeah.
Yeah. That couple,
Cooper
right?
River,
The guy and
too.
the gal there that
Yeah.
whacking some pretty big bags there too.
Yeah, that was a
So you
Sharon
got that
Harris
one?
tournament. That was in February.
March, I
March.
think.
First, second week of
I'm
March,
assuming
pretty
those
small.
ray rig fish, right?
Yeah.
Probably.
No, they were. I know somebody watched the guy. They were definitely a rig fish. 2 weekends back to back, over 40, off the same spot.
Yeah,
Lake's
I remember
never been the
seeing it all
same
over the
since.
internet. They were just whacking them. Whacking it. So you guys have them. It's possible there too.
Well, you got to think though. That's just one lake out
Yeah.
of however many is in North Carolina. The rest of them, I mean, we got some decent lakes where you can go catch 25, 28, maybe even 30 if you get lucky. But for the most part, man, if we catch 20, 21 pounds, we're feeling pretty good.
Well, Florida's about the same. It's not like you're gonna, there's only a few lakes around here that really can carry that kind of weight on a consistent basis. Kissimmee being the number one by far, but you go to Okeechobee, an 8-pounder's a giant there. You don't catch very many 10-pound fish on Okeechobee. It just doesn't, And the reason is all the northerners come down and they catch them, they fillet them. I mean, they don't, they're not trophy hunting, they're fillet hunting.
Yeah.
They'll throw an 8 or 9-pounder, you go to the way or to the fish cleaning stations, and you'll see them cleaning 7 and 8 pounders like you would the 2-pounder eat. It's pretty sad. But there's other places, we fished Winter Haven chain, Steve and I, like 4 weeks ago, and a guy rolled in there with 30 pounds on us. Again, you're feeling good with 23 or 24, and a guy rolls in and goes, "Thump!" He just knocked it on your head. So, and of course he had a 10-pounder, a 9 something,
Yeah,
That's
so-
what I mean. Anybody can get lucky with that one kicker, and that's the part I don't like anymore.
There's you can do that in South Carolina at
What?
Santee and
Oh yeah.
Santee, Murray. Anybody else?
Santee's
Watery.
phenomenal.
What's that?
Murray,
Watery.
Water.
Yeah, big
Watery
fish.
is another
Yeah,
place I
Watery's
think
got
we
'em.
Hey Jesse, we got a question for you on the live feed here. I don't know if you can see it or not. It's from
No, I
Barry.
can't see it.
It's from Barry Price. He wants to know, besides May, when is the best time to fish the St. Lawrence? He says May trip got canceled because of the virus, and he's trying to reschedule.
The St. Lawrence River obviously is the best, right now through May, especially when the shad are spawning. If there has to be another time to come. I'd probably wait till December. In December, early January.
Okay.
Because if we have a warm, and it's all dependent on the winter. If we have a warm winter, they'll be on spawn already.
I don't
Right.
think he heard the question.
I'm sorry?
I think you misunderstood the question.
You said the best time to come to the St. Lawrence or St. John's?
St. Lawrence.
Oh, the St. Lawrence. My apologies.
Yeah, they're not spawning in New York in January, just so you know.
They're still punching ice at that point.
I got that river. No. You got to bring an ice drill if you come there.
Well, I was just going to clarify. I was going to let you go, but I was going to clarify. That. Is there a St. Lawrence River in Florida? Because the only one I know of is the smallmouth factory in New York.
No, on the St. Lawrence, now I know for sure that they're spawning all the way up to the end of June.
Yeah.
Down by Lake Ontario. But if I had to go back to the St. Lawrence at any time of the year, it's not May or June, probably September, right before the cold starts, they start feeding up pretty heavy.
Yeah.
Early fall. So you got to have jackets on and stuff. It's that cold there, but that's
You guys
when they
been
put
at-
their
Oh,
coat
yeah.
on.
You guys been up there in August for an open, or y'all always go to Oneida when you go to New York, right?
No, we go to St. Lawrence. I don't remember what month we were up there last year. Was it not? It was late August, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was late August.
And I fished, I'm gonna give you an example, I fished in FLW a week before that, right? The
Yeah.
Champlain one,
Yep.
I was catching them all bed fishing. They were still on beds there on Champlain.
In August?
Yeah, yep. So.
Does the St. Lawrence, does it get beat up by the wind like those other lakes, or
Yes, sir,
does it?
absolutely it does.
Yeah, so
It does really quickly up there just as anywhere else up north.
so I guess, Barry, if you're going to go in August, make sure you got some extra days planned, because there might be some.
There's another
No,
question there.
No, August is fine, it's
Okay.
September, October.
September, okay. That's when we went. Yeah, we
Right.
went my birthday
Yeah.
weekends when we
That's
went in
right.
September.
Then smallmouth start feeding up for the winter, and they'll go till the freeze. And
Okay.
the closer you get to the freeze,
The better it gets.
I mean, the lake freezing over, the better the fishing is.
Yeah. So we
I
got
know
another.
Will kills, absolutely destroys them up there right before ice over. Like there's already chunks of ice on the river. He's still fishing. The water's 30. Well, we were up there this year and the water was 33, 34. And I was sight fishing them, 3 feet of water.
Holy cow!
Yeah, and I caught my personal best of 612. So the old Gajo stink bait.
33-degree water.
Cold.
33, 33-degree water and 3 foot of water. We were watching them swimming around. We pitching to them, catching them.
Don't fall in.
No, sir. No, well, if I did, I could walk to the bank. I'd be dead before I made it. Yeah.
So we got
20 feet of water.
another question for you from Robbie Norris. He wants to know where he should go in Florida in May.
Man, the Kissimmee chain's hard to beat in May. If you want numbers, go to Okeechobee. If you want big fish, you want Kissimmee chain. Absolutely. And all you need is a 1 1/4 ounce jig with a big lobster on the back of it, black and blue, 50-pound braid, and go down the grass line till you just can't see no more. And eventually, you're going to run across a group of big ones.
When you say grass line, is there a specific grass he needs to target, or is it just because I'm
Kissimmee grass.
Kissimmee grass?
That's it.
Okay.
Outside grass lines, right out in front of the spawning flats.
All right, and the Kissimmee
No
chain.
magic.
So the Kissimmee.
Let me tell you.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry.
All right, so the Kissimmee chain is Kissimmee, Hatchinall,
Toho.
Toho, and Cypress, right?
Tiger Lake.
Tiger Lake.
Tiger Lake. Yeah.
There's 5 of them.
Tiger's off of Kissimmee.
Okay.
Yeah. But Kissimmee is the #1 grass flipping lake. Grass meaning Kissimmee grass, not hyacinths or hydrilla or any of that.
Okay.
Those big fish, I'm telling you what, old Matt weighed in 43 or 44 the first day of a 2-day derby last year and 42 the next. So you talk about consistent. He said if I'd have had a 4-day elite event, I'd have had 160 pounds.
Dang. That sounds like a David Winter story.
Yeah.
Really? Hey man, I'm just messing with you.
You hurt his feelings, man.
He's over here playing on his phone, playing Candy Crush.
No, I'm not.
I'm telling you, man, you just need a big jig with a big old strike the back, black and blue. And like I told you, I was going to say, it's not about the numbers, and it's not about, anything other than endurance. You have to have the mental endurance to go for 4 or 5, 6, 8 miles of grass and not catch a single fish. You can't do that. Do not come to Florida in May and expect to catch big bags. You will roll down the grass line for, I'm telling you, 5, 6 hours and not get a bite. But you should only have that one rod on the deck, nothing else.
Straight braid.
I'm telling you, you'll go down a 100-yard stretch and you'll catch a 4-pounder. Well, generally when that happens, you need to keep going a little bit till you don't get another bite, or if you might not, then come right back and go right back and come right back. And in that little 25 or 30-yard stretch, it's magical. And you don't know why, you can't explain it. There's nothing different there from what you've been, doing all day long. The bottom, I've tried to experiment, and there's general areas that they hang in. Okay, you learn this over the years, but I guarantee you might hit 50 stretches in a day that you've caught them there before and not get a bite. And then all of a sudden, you come back to the one stretch at 2 in the afternoon. I did it last year or the year before with Jared Dial. Pulled up, man, we had 1 9.5 pounder and like 3 3-pounders and a 2-pounder. And I said, come on, we got to go hit them clumps where he caught that 9 first thing this morning. I pulled in there, one flip caught a 7, the next flip caught another 7, then he caught 6. We already had a 9 in the box. So that's what I'm saying. You don't know. So it's a mental endurance because it's hot. It's 100 degrees.
Yep.
The hydrilla gnats are driving you nuts. The black mosquitoes are driving you nuts. You're sweating like mad. And most of the time, when it's the best, there's not a stitch. But you look across the Kissimmee, it looks like a mirror. You hold a match out there, there's no wind. That's when it's the best. If there's
Stupid
wind,
fish don't like no
it's
wind.
great.
Florida fish. I told you they were dumb.
I like the water. Well, I like the water. It looks like sweet tea and no wind.
Yeah.
Yes. Don't jump in it because it's 90, so it ain't gonna help you cool anything.
So I have a question about grass. I don't. This is, I guess, more for me than anybody. But so we don't get to do that stuff up here. I've been to Florida a handful of times, and so that Kissimmee grass, it doesn't mat, right? I mean, it looks almost like what guys in
Looks
Texas
like
would call
broom
hay grass, or it. I
Yeah.
mean, it almost
but
looks
it's
like
mat. It will mat.
it will mat.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. So it just depends, but there's 2 kinds of grass that's primary out here. So you have the Kissimmee grass, and then you have the taller grass, and it's maiden cane. And so part of the pattern to all this, and Shane's been to Florida enough, he should recognize what I'm describing. Part of the pattern is to find the grass within the grass that the fish are in.
Okay.
So early May, late April, the craziest thing, unless you experience it, you don't quite get it. So rather than hunting, the heck was that? Okay, thick grass.
My phone.
Yeah.
Again.
You're hunting 3 strands of grass that are 20 yards away from anything,
Okay.
and it's isolated, and that's where you're going to catch your biggest fish, literally the biggest fish in May. It's because the water's not that hot. They pull out there and they just sit in that. And I'm telling you, they ain't no bigger than these 3 fingers, but they're that long. They're long, and they're just laid over, and that sucker will be right there. And you got to make a really long flip with that same 1.25 ounce jig. It's only that deep. 2 feet of water, but for whatever reason they're there. And as the months wear on, like May, middle of May, 3rd week, 4th week, it just depends on the temperatures. They'll start moving into the Kissimmee grass edges. And that's when you're just looking for little points. You gotta learn to read the grass.
Right.
And then once you hit dead of summer, where it's June, July, August, now you're looking for grass within the grass. And the guys don't make the adjustments out here. And I don't claim to be a grass expert.
Sure.
I have buddies like the guy Matt who's weighing in 40-pound sacks like you guys weigh in 20 pounds. He's really damn good with it. And he taught me what to look for, right? So he says, look, maiden cane grows a lot taller. So you want to look for the Kissimmee grass at times. Now, this isn't all the time, that has maiden cane and a maiden cane edge in it. So now you've created another edge, right? But what happens with that maiden cane being taller, it creates more shade. So in the morning, they might be on the edge of that, and mid-morning, they might be up on an edge, on the inside edge, that secondary grass line. It's a grass within the grass. And then come high noon, 1 o'clock, they're inside that maiden cane because it's so dense and it's, and then other times, July, you'll go out and flip miles of Kissimmee grass, and like a retard, you won't think, hey, let me make a few pitches in the Maiden King patches, and what happens? That's where they're at. So they abandon the Kissimmee grass altogether, and they're just in the Maiden King, in that tall, thick grass. So, but either way, like I said, it's all about a mental endurance. It's got nothing to do with anything else. If you can go out there and you keep that flipping stick in your hand, and I don't use a big rod, I use a 7.3 Enigma Econ or HPT heavy, 50-pound braid. When you're flipping that much, that if you use a 7.6 or if you go to a 7.11, that's a huge difference on your elbow and your arm. And I've had tendonitis in both of my arms. And use that 7.3 heavy, Shane, that thing's an absolute beast. And you can, you'll muscle 89 pounders out of that stuff. So just, it's like I said, it's a mental thing more than anything.
Well, that's a pretty good rundown, because I would think in May, June, even the further in the summer you get, the more grass it grows. And there's so much grass down there that it can be really overwhelming if you've never seen it before. So just an area to start on the outer edges. That's a good.
But that's where they live all summer long.
On the outer edges.
They're only either on the outer edge or they're 2 foot in, 3 foot in. They're never, It's
Gotcha.
not like hydrilla where you're pitching an Okeechobee. You might pitch 20 feet back from hydrilla or Seminole or something.
Yeah. So
Those fish are orientated to that edge.
Okay. So we got another question for you. That Wayne Smelzer wants to know, why so heavy a jig, only 2 foot of water? Reaction bite.
It's all about the reaction bite. Big, nasty, and you want it loud. You don't need to keep it quiet. You want it to splash. You want it to create a commotion, because even if that fish is a foot or two away, sometimes you'll pitch into the grass. There's 2 little secrets that a lot of the guys do not share in Florida. The first one is, I already told you, the weight. Most of the guys will throw an ounce jig. Ounce and a quarter has a whole different fall. It's a whole different fall rate. The second secret I'm going to share with you, I'm going to share 3. The second one is, it's not really a jig. We use a punch skirt with an ounce and a quarter tungsten double pegged, 3/0, not a 4, not a 5, 3/0 owner jungle flipping hook. You'll pin them every time. You just don't lose fish. That's the second secret. And then the third secret is make sure that when the bait enters the water, it's got a clean entry and fall. You don't want to hit something and stay there. You just ruin it, because now you've alerted that fish. Those big fish don't be big by being stupid. So you want something that breaks the grass, goes through it, and goes right to the bottom. And you'll do that, and 2 feet away, you'll see the grass shake. And you pick up on your jig, and boom.
Yep.
Just
I
like-
saw
just
it
like-
happen. It is an alligator.
Yeah, I promise you, if some of my local boys hear this thing, I'll get some phone calls. What are you doing talking about that punch skirt? And what happens is you lose a lot of big fish on a jig because of the leverage. When
Sure.
you get a punch skirt, they have no leverage. And then think about, it's like drop shot. I use a small hook when I'm drop shot. I was taught that a long time ago by Aaron. A lot of guys use a hook that's too big and they lose the fish. Well, if you can pin them where the bend of the hook is flat with the roof of their mouth or their lip, there's no leverage in that hook. There's
Right.
no way for it to come out.
Not
You
coming
literally
off.
wrangle. You got to
So-
almost bend the hook to get them out sometimes, because they're, you destroy the hook because they're pinned so good.
I've seen some of those hooks Aaron uses, and you almost think they're trout hooks. They're so small.
Yeah, I use the number 4 to drop shot. I don't use nothing else for drop shot if I'm nose hooking. The number 4, it's barely enough sometimes to get through the plastic. But when you hook a big one, they just don't come off. And it's the same with the flipping. We use a 3/0 owner jungle. It's got enough bend where you pin an 8 or 9. I don't care how big it is. If you pin them good in the roof of the mouth, the bend of the hook is just what's sitting flush with the roof of their mouth. So there's really no movement there. That whole entire bend and barb is deep inside their head. It's not, they just don't come off. So, but that's the 3 little secrets that we use. You've got to have, it's like when you're flipping a mat, and you know that, Shane, you need that weight to break the mat first time through. You're going to get way more bites if you do that.
I'm glad I'm recording this, because if not, I'll be writing notes on the table like I was back in high school getting ready for a test.
Just look at a clump of grass, and I wrote an article with Ken Duke a long time ago, and he says the best way to describe it is you look at a mat, and look at a mat as if it was a piece of land. You don't look at it as a mat, you look at it as, okay, what features are in that mat, right? In Florida, fish love vertical and horizontal mix. So if you have hyacinths that have these little dingly things, that their root system, right? And then you got 3 or 4 pads in there, they'll get right there. So wherever there's a big mat, if there's 2 or 3 pads here, or 2 or 3 pads, them fish are gonna be right in them pads, and that entire mat, that's where they're gonna be, every time. Or 3 reeds, or 2 reeds, or 1 reed, something that's vertical and horizontal. That's exactly what they want. And it's no different in the dock, Shane. It's the same exact thing when you guys put brush piles and stuff under docks. You know, that's where they're at. They're in the brush around the dock. They're not really on the dock, per se. You sneaky son of a gun that don't tell us nothing.
Hey, now, you give all the Florida secrets away you want to, but you don't keep that Carolina stuff to yourself now.
I met Shane like in 15 or 16 in Norman. What are you doing? I'm skipping dock. So I'm gonna go skip dock. I skipped dock, got blue in the face. Broke a bunch of people's stuff on dock, hitting it, I'm sure. I don't know about stuff. Lost a bunch of baits. I didn't catch nothing. I'm like, what in the world? Then I find out later after the 3rd day of the open, oh no, we had brush piles way back up in the docks. Oh, thanks for coming down.
Yeah, I give him a hard time all the time because and our guys that watch this every week have heard this before. But so I've known Shane for, I don't know, 10 years maybe.
Probably.
Something
maybe
like
a little,
that.
Maybe a little better.
And I met him in our winter trail up here. My dad lost his lower unit, and we were going to win the points, and he lost his lower unit on the final day. And he came all the way down there and got us. He's on completely other side of the lake and let us weigh in. We only had like 9 pounds, but it was enough to win the points championship. So I figured he was an all right guy after that. So.
Well, he asked you for half the money, didn't he?
Well, you don't get too much money in that. I think they paid my membership fee the next year. But I got that piece of paper. It was a piece of paper
then, yep.
still in my garage.
It wasn't even a trophy.
I'm proud of it.
It was a piece of paper in a 8x10 99-cent Walmart frame's what it was.
Oh, that's one of
But
those-
it said that you were the champion.
That's right. Points champion.
Points champion. J&J Winter Trail.
So the next year, I think I fished the BFLs with him. We traveled. We'd go fish. We'd practice Friday, the day before, to see if it was worth, paying our entry fee to fish on Saturday. And we get back to the hotel room and, hey man, did you catch any? No, I caught 2. Really? Man, yeah. How many did you catch? Well, I caught a couple. Well, the next day I'd go out and I'd suck, and he'd get a check like usual. Well, about, I don't know, halfway through the season, it's like, man, I thought you said you only caught 2, because I'd struggle a lot, but I can't get a bite. Well, I only got 2 bites, or I only caught 2. Well, about halfway through the season, I realized I wasn't asking the right question, and the right question is not how many did you catch, but hey, how many bites did you get today? Because he's letting them swim, which I learned the hard way, that if you stick steel through their face the day before the tournament, if you let them swim off with your stuff and not set the hook, you might catch them the next day, or you might not. But if you stick steel through their face the day before the tournament, you're definitely not going to catch them the next day. So you gotta make sure your questions are the right questions, not just a question.
This is how much I trust and respect Shane, and I think it's mutual, that I will take him to where we're catching fish and say, this is what you need to look for, and he'll do the same with me. Because he can trust me, I'm not going to go back on his stuff.
Yeah, now get out of my area.
Well, that's not true. That's not true either. We've shared areas before.
Yeah, no, we've shared it. Where we shared St. Clair for 3 straight days.
Sure did.
I think we had 96 pounds off of one rock pile.
We freaking whacked them off of one little old rock pile. That's where I caught that 610 at.
Sure.
Well, those places up there. Yeah.
That, really, think about it,
Well, there's places up there at St. Clair, too, though. I mean, if you find a school of smallmouth relating to literally one rock, I mean, there might be 100 fish in that school.
It's crazy.
It's more.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, stupid St. Clair, when was that, 16, whatever it was? I was leading it the first day on St. Clair. I pulled up, my wife found these 3 little particular things down there, and I didn't believe it. I told Shane the story, and I pulled up the first day to open, 5 casts, I had 24 pounds. I thought, boy, I better leave. Well, I leave, and it happened to be our 30th wedding anniversary, or 28th, whatever the hell it was, and proposed to her on stage. Chris Bowes helped me get it all done. It's still over there on their thing. It's a pretty neat deal. And so I'm leading, and I proposed it. She said yes again, dummy, after all them years. She should have ran like hell, you know. So, you know, the next day I run back out there, I make another 10 or 12 throws. I had like 23 pounds. I thought, oh, I'm leaving, man. I'm leaving. This is stupid. Like, I can't be here. Well, the last day I ran over there, we caught like 9 billion fish and never moved. And I thought, and then I get back. I'd never been to the lake, and a local guy says, where'd you guys fish? I said, oh, man, I fished 3 little rock piles today. He says, every one of them rock piles has 1,000 smallmouth on them. He says, if you'd just stayed put, you'd have probably broken 30 damn pounds a day, you dumbass. You know, I pull up on our rock pile. I pull up. The first day, Shane was hooked up when I pulled up. The next day, I drew before him, and I didn't have a mark, so I pulled up. I was fighting a 5-pounder when he got there. You remember I was drifting away on my first throw? And then, hell, I get back, and he's drifting past me, fighting a 7 damn pounder. I said, well, what the hell's going on around here? You know? So, you know, he gets there, I'm drifting past him with a 5, and I get finally back 100 yards later. I can't get the damn thing in the boat, and he's over there drifting past. He just disappeared. And I'm like, what in the world? I hear him hooting and hollering. It took him 15 minutes to get the damn thing in.
It took a while.
Was that 6'10"?
Mm-hmm.
6'10". He said, I can't believe what I got. He pulled it up like, holy hell. Listen, we fished close enough we could hand each other a bottle of water. So that's how close we were for 3 days.
That's
His
cool.
Marshall and me were talking and cracking up, busting his chops. And, you know, I mean, we just had a good time.
He actually broke a fish off. 20 minutes later, I caught it. It still had the hook and a sinker in its mouth.
Absolutely true story. That's
Yep.
Yeah.
Sure did.
Did you weigh it with the
No,
rock?
it was about a 3-pounder. It didn't help me any. But it did. It broke him off, and I caught the fish.
So we got 2 questions. So I don't know if you guys know or not, or if they told you or not, but has the Sabine River, has it been postponed or canceled or
As of right now, the Sabine River is still a go.
still a go? When is that?
Yeah, they are. It is the last week of May, 1st of June.
Okay.
It and Fork are. Is it not? It's back to back, isn't it, Jesse?
Yeah. Back
Yeah.
to back.
And as of right now, that's going to be our first our second tournament of the season, I guess you'd say.
David said he's going to answer the next question. Mike Seawright, who, Jesse, if you don't know Mike, he's one of the
Local legends
here. He wants to know if rock piles are good.
Rock piles are terrible, Mike. Absolutely terrible. Now, I will say this. Mike Seawright's the only guy that I know that probably has every rock in 10 to 15 foot of water on Lake Wiley marked, starred, and flagged, and knows how to triangulate every one of them.
Even the ones that have 2 foot of silt on top of them.
That's right.
Yeah, he's probably put hook marks on a whole bunch of them.
And left a couple plugs behind doing it.
Yeah, we had guys. I was fortunate enough before Charlie Flowers got too old to fish. His life passed and all that. I moved here in '96. I quit fishing for 12 years. I quit bass fishing. I wanted to raise my son. I spent a lot of time. He raced motocross, so we was on the track 3 nights a week on weekend races. So I didn't get a whole lot of time to fish. But I remember Charlie Flowers. I drew him in my first red man 2 weeks after I moved here, and he showed up in my boat with 2 rods and a paper sack. That was it. And he's in his 60s then. I said, "Sir, you need me to go to your truck and help you get your stuff? I'm trying to be nice." He goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, you got 2 rods." He goes, "That's all I need. Peanut butter jelly sandwich." That's what he had. I thought, oh my God, I'm going to get my ass whooped today. I did not think the opposite. That's what I thought. This old man knows something I don't. Because I got all this crap laying everywhere here, and he got 2 rods and a freaking peanut butter jelly sandwich. And boy, we went out there, and he starts looking at my stuff. He goes, "You got a flipping stick?" I said, "Well, yeah, that right there is an All-Star 7.6 heavy." He goes, "That ain't a flipping stick. There's no top water on that junk around here." He called it junk, and he had some old Okuma or some kind of flipping stick that he was like for boat flipping 100-pound yellowfin. I mean, this thing was crazy stiff. And 40 pound, listen to when I tell you, 40-pound big game. And 1 ounce, they didn't have tungsten, it was a 1 ounce sinker, and then he had another rod, with a 1 ounce sinker and a half of a 1 ounce sinker on top of it, with the toothpick in both of them to hold it. So he had an
That's
ounce
right.
and a half.
I remember doing that.
That's a true story. And in his pocket, he had 1 bag of owner 5/0, because they didn't make straight shank flipping hooks. He had a 5/0 O'Shaughnessy bend and a cricket in his other pocket. He had about 100 of them crickets. And a cricket was nothing but a 2.5-inch bait. You know what it is? It's like a little
Yeah,
gator
BB.
crawl. It's about that big.
BB cricket.
Gambler makes it.
Cricket. Well, not back then. It wasn't. It was, you know, the original crickets. I still have some. Those were from Charlie. They're just near and dear to my heart. It's not that they're anything worth anything, but it was Gene LaRue made those way back in the day. And so anyway, he said, "This is just." I said, "How do you put that little bait on that hook?" He says, "No, this is nothing but a weed garden." I thought, you know, I'm thinking now we're sitting there waiting, you know, to go, and I'm thinking in the morning, okay, I've drawn a crack pot, you know, some jackwagon. He's just nuts, you know. And he told me to bring him a seat, and I don't mean a butt seat. I mean like we're sitting right here. And he said, "Where are you gonna fish?" And I said, "That grassy island right there, man. I caught him, you know, in the morning flipping right along the edge of the reeds and the grass and stuff." He goes, "Yeah, that's a pretty good area." So I roll in there, man. I'm flipping. I jack one. I mean, you know, setting the hook. You jack a 3-pounder. This thing goes berserk in there. Boat flip him, and Charlie just looked at me. He didn't say nothing. He just looked at me. I thought, man, all right. You know, I'm thinking to myself, the way started Derby, you know, 3-pounder in Florida. Right. Well, about 10 minutes later, I hear a fish flopping. And it's about a 5-pounder on the floor of my bass cat. And I never heard a word, never felt the boat move, nothing. I thought, "When the hell did you catch that fish?" And he just looked at me. He said, "Son, don't you know, when you set the hook that hard, all you do is piss them off. When you feel a bite, just lift and keep lifting and put them in the boat. They ain't coming off." I said, "Come on, Josh." He said, "Remember I told you it's a weed garden." He said, "Give me your hand." He said, "Hold that. I'm going to pull a little bit." And I did, and sure as hell, he didn't move it. I mean, hardly anything. And that hook was already, you know. And he says, "These idiots around here don't know what to do. They just don't know what they're doing." So the next bite I get, I jack it again like an idiot. He's back there laughing his ass off. Saying, "What I tell you, Jesse, you're too hyper. You need to just lift that fish up. You wouldn't have this mess." Well, he boat another one about 4 pounds, whatever. And the reason I say he's like that guy, he says, "Well, I had about 12 pounds finally for my 5 down that little bank, and he had 3, I think, like 16, you know." And what he was doing, well, I'm flipping the outer edge of it with a little 3/4 ounce. I didn't have nothing. He's flipping 1.5 ounces, 6 feet back in the junk and catching all the giants right behind him, whipping me. And he says, "Come on, I'm going to take you some good water. We'll show you how you do this." And I swear to God, dude, we'd roll into a cove. He says, "You see that little patch over there? It's been there for 20 years. I've caught 4 10-plus pound fish off it. You see that reed patch there? It's been here for 30 years. I've caught a bunch of 8s and 9s off of that one." And I mean, this guy, like that rock pile guy, he knew, because back then there wasn't a spraying craze, you know what I mean? It was not like it is nowadays. And them little patches of stuff would just, I mean, the guy knew, no matter where you went on Toho, he knew no, there ain't no fish here. Never caught one there, never caught one over 2 pounds here. Oh, no, nothing bigger than 4 pounds there. And he could just go down that lake anywhere I went and tell you. And I was fortunate enough to become friends with him. He taught me literally everything I know about flipping. And him and Freddie, oh my God, Freddie Rigdon used to whip. And I mean, when I tell you whip guys behind all year. Didn't matter where they went. If it was Okeechobee, Toho, up at Orange Lake, anything north of Cal area, wear you down. Plumb wear you down.
So it sounds like 40-pound big game was the original no stretch line.
No, it had plenty of stretch. It just, you know, he used the Abu. I want to say what was it, the tall round with the 4600.
4600.
Ambassador.
Yeah.
The 4600s, and it held about 55 yards of that, which is plenty to flip.
Well, I broke. Shane and I fished Saturday out here on Lake Wiley together, and I broke a spinnerbait off on 20-pound big game, and I believe that's the first time I ever broke big game before in my entire life. I couldn't believe it.
It sounded like a rifle
I
went
mean,
off.
I went casting, and my reels are old. I won't get rid of them. They're the old Abu Garcia Revo. They're the Gen 1s. Them things are daggone bulletproof. They've had
Yeah, the ones that don't break.
yeah. They've had 3 or 4 sets of bearings in them, but everything else, drag washer, everything else is original.
Yes, sir.
and my finger or the clutch on one of them is kind of sticky. It's dirty, and it got stuck, and it, I went to cast it real hard, and it slingshot, and it just kapow! I mean,
We were joking about that just, it was Sunday, it was yesterday, and we fished a little derby on Garcia, and the guy was with me. I said I broke a big one off on braid, and I don't know how I did it, but I broke a big one in the mat. And he says, yep, I don't have that problem. And I said, what do you mean? He says, I don't use braid. 25-pound big game's all I use. It's got enough stretch, they can bull all they want. They'll swim out of that mat because of the stretch and come right back into it. Braid,
that one of my buddies on here swears by it. That's what we used to fish a jig on for, fluorocarbon. He reads on here. He actually fished big game, I think, 3 or 4 years before he even switched to fluorocarbon. And growing up, we used to get in big debates over Stren versus Trilene. I was the Stren guy. He was the Trilene guy.
Of course you were, Brandon. Of course you were.
And the biggest argument we would get in is what color Zoom U-tail worm was the best. But we call that from our childhood. We still call that big game. We call it goat rope.
Yeah. Well, I got to using big game, and I'm 51, and big game's been around, has to be since I was like 14 or 15. And the only reason that I got into it is you could buy a 10,000-yard spool for $6.99 at Kmart.
Yep, that's right.
And we used to use it for striper. When I was growing up, and big old stripers on Lake Mead, and my dad would buy a spool of 20 or 25 pounds, and you just couldn't break that stuff. And eventually, when I started fishing the bass clubs, and learned a little bit more about bass fishing, I just started. That's all I ever used. And then I tried the regular Trilene, the XL. What was the blue one? It was XL and XT.
XT, yeah.
Yeah, and it was garbage compared to that big game. I'm like, I ain't using that trash no more. And big game, remember, started making 10 and 12-pound lines instead of on goat rope. He actually had 10, and that's all we use is 8. I used 8-pound pink Andy because it disappears in the clear water, real good. And then the rest of it was big game. So I only used 8-pound Andy or 6-pound Andy, pink, and then everything else was big game on that boat, man.
I was Stren Magnathin and Camo, or Coffee. Remember they came out with that brown line? It disappeared too.
Yeah, I don't think I ever even looked at that stuff on the shelf.
It was cheap. It was cheap too. You couldn't buy it at that fancy smancy Kmart you shopped at. You had to go to Walmart to get that stuff.
Well, remember, when I was a kid, there was no Walmart.
No Walmart, that's right.
It was just Kmart and the Blue Light Special.
And the Family Dollar.
Probably had to order stuff out of the Sears Roebuck magazine to get fishing stuff.
God dang, Brian, ain't that old, man. Yep, Blue Light Special, man. I remember that when I was a kid, man. My mom
You walk into Kmart and you hear ding. Attention shoppers, the Blue Light Special is on aisle 7.
That's right. And my mom would go over there and wait for it to be in the right place for the right aisle because they had one every hour, Whatever shoes. Jesse, I'm going to wait till they get over there with the kids' shoes, and that sucker can go off and run right over there.
That's right.
Dang.
And they had a real blue light on a pole. It was up in the air. It was about a 6 or 8 foot pole with a little blue light on top of it.
Hey, man, it worked. Kmart was like the Walmart is nowadays, except better, I thought. No. Yeah. I just, that's, you grow up fishing all that stuff. I grew up saltwater fishing. And I didn't even catch a bass till I was 12, I think. And I was hooked, obviously. I'm still catching the damn thing. But, big game was affordable. And even to this day, it's affordable and it's great line. I still have 2 spools of it. That's all I use for Carolina rigging. I'm sponsored by Gamma, but I'll use my Gamma everything, and then I'll put my leader of that so it'll float the bait a little better.
Right.
That's what I have, I like it. It's just good stuff.
That's the mono I still use. I probably still got the same spools I bought from 5 years ago because they get them in 1,000 yards.
Yeah. Hey, that you were talking about that pink Andy. That's what I use when I go saltwater fishing. I love that pink Andy in saltwater.
That's how I found out about it when I was a kid, and then I found out it was cheap. You can buy the same thing. It was like 1,000 yards for $6.99 or whatever it was. And that pink Andy, I'm telling you, when I first started using it on Lake Mead and I was seriously bass fishing, 16, 17, I used to whip everybody's behind on that thing. They're using the high visibility, strand yellow or strand purple, Trilene purple, you know, I'm using this pink candy, this stuff just disappeared in the water.
Yep.
And I was catching fish behind everybody, and I finally got everybody hooked on it in Vegas in the 80s, you know. Everybody was using pink candy for everything. It's a great line. It's tough. It's just like big game. You can't hardly break it, you know. So, and it's cheap. I got to get back to the cheap part. He was broke when he was a kid.
Yeah.
So,
Andy doesn't have as much stretch as big game.
No, it probably doesn't.
Andy's a little harder. It's got a lot more memory, but it does not have the stretch big game has.
Mike, Seawright wants to know if we've ever heard a Bearcat line. I've never heard of that. Have you?
That's some of that aisle 7 blue light special stuff. I've never heard of it either.
He said, well, I mean, he gave a good plug. He said it'll pull a house off of a foundation.
Dang.
that's
I don't know
about big
anything
game,
about
so it's
that.
gotta
It's
run,
before
it's
my
gotta live
time.
up to its, you know.
Now we got to remember here. Seawright is just a touch older than we are. Just a touch, like 25 years.
You better be
No,
careful,
it's,
Shane. He'll
yeah.
drive down here.
Oh no, I'll see him tomorrow.
We'll turn the camera around. We'll clear all these aisles out and have WWE in here.
Cornhole's about as far as I'm going with that.
Cornhole.
Yeah, man.
Well-
I'm excited. I'm glad y'all had me on.
Y'all
I'm
weren't
excited.
born yet.
Yeah.
Say that again, Jesse. I'm sorry.
I said, I'm just excited y'all had me on, but I'm excited. I really am excited to get back to fishing. It's driving me nuts. I get this Florida, like claustrophobia, it's Florida phobia. I get tired of fishing Florida. It's just grass. You know, that's all you fish here, and it gets boring. Yeah, you catch a lot of fish and it's fun, but it's the same stuff. You know, you
Right.
can't. You know, this tournament on Okeechobee, I'm excited because the lake's low, so I get to do what I like to do, and I do real well there. Is fish Ned rigs in the river in 20 feet of water, little high-tech 3.8. You know, hey, you can laugh. I had that big old 30-something pound bag in 18 there.
Tell them again what that was on.
On a Ned rig. With
See there? There you go.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
he's probably throwing a 1 ounce head and a 9-inch Cinco on there though.
Yes, sir. Let me tell you, man, this is no joke. I was pre-fishing, messing around. I couldn't hardly get him to bite. Everybody was talking about Carolina rigging a 10-inch worm and blah, blah, blah. And I had just gotten back from smallmouth fishing with Will, so I had, I don't know, 6 or 7 of them damn spinning rods still rigged in the boat, a little Kitech, drop shot, and Ned rig, all my, I'm not going to say you know what I call it, Shane, but all the little finesse stuff. And I thought, you know, I'm going to try this Kitech. I kept seeing these little glass minnows. They weren't shallow. I don't know what the heck they are in the river, but they're small, about 3 inches long, the little guys. And I pulled off of a little rocky point, and I threw up there, and I don't know what I was doing. You know, I wasn't paying attention. I left the bail open on the spinning reel, and I put it in gear, and that line just got tight and kept going. It was about 8 pounds. And that thing looked like a tic tac in the roof of its mouth, man. I thought, oh my God, am I onto something here? You know, I can't be. This is just, you know, luck. Well, 15, 20 minutes later, man, I pick up that Ned rig. I go right back to that point, catch a 7-something. I said, whoa, I'm onto something here. So I started going up that river, looking. I caught a 9. I thought, I'm done. That's it. I found it. And what it is everybody's beating these fish up with DTs, you know, 12 and 14s, big worms, and, you know, all the normal Florida stuff that's big. And I roll in there with 7 pounds. I'm like, you know, berry ones. And on purpose at weigh-in, a 2-day event, I won it. And on purpose, I left it all on the deck. And guys were walking over going, yeah, right, sure. You know, making all kind of comments. He's sandbagging and this and that and the other. No, I wasn't. It's on my Facebook. It's fresh as soon as I was catching them. Have you ever seen a 2.5-inch Ned rig on an 11-pounder's mouth? You think I'm joking. It does look like it's got a little leech in there somewhere. Because there's,
It's crazy.
yeah.
Well, that's a good thing about us fishermen. You can tell us the truth, and we'll still think you're lying to us. So
It's exactly right. Yeah. That's exactly right.
you tell the truth, you don't have to remember what lie you told. You just keep telling the same one. No one will believe you
Yeah.
anyways.
Well, I told my buddies, I said, listen, I'm dead serious. I'm finesse fishing them. They just don't want to eat. But you can catch them, and there's still some good bags, hot, you know, the low 20s on the bigger stuff. But to catch the big fish, you needed to finesse them, man. They just wouldn't eat. I don't know
Right.
how many 8-pounders I've caught on Okeechobee drop shot. Matter of fact, yesterday I caught a 1.5 drop shot on Lake Garcia. Garcia, they fish the one of the BP tour guys, or the events there, well, not the BP, the other one.
That was the first their inaugural deal, the one Jordan Lee won.
Yeah, and I had to catch him yesterday in the current on a drop shot. That's how tough it was out there. And I broke out that spinning rod with 12-pound line and a little 5-inch zoom, and I started whacking their heads off, just beating them to death in there. And Mike Jones, he was like, "Are you kidding me? You're schooling me with a damn drop shot." I said, "Hey, buddy, whatever it takes, we whack them. I mean, whack them." So, it has its application in Florida just as well as anywhere else. But to me, that was a treat. I actually get to fish with a spinning rod in Florida and actually have fun.
That's some of that lake. That's some of that lake mead bull crap.
Bull crap. I like it.
No, I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you what that comes from. That comes from fishing. I don't want to necessarily say the Bassmaster Elite Series, but that comes from fishing out of town, where you have to catch 5.
Yep.
Yeah.
My first few years on the tour or whatever, I was that guy that wouldn't touch a spinning reel. I learned the hard way, and I'm realizing now it's not all about brawn and balls, as you would say. It's about catching them. However you got to catch them, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You gotta 12 pound them to death.
That's right. You got to have 5.
Well, I promise you, go to my Facebook. Anybody listening to this podcast, go look at what Steve and I did on the Winter Haven chain in February or March. We had 25 and a half pounds. Every bit of it was on a drop shot. 100%. They wouldn't touch anything else, a big fish. And they would just drop shot in 14 feet of water on freaking bush piles. Well, then with my Panoptics Live, I could see 2 or 3 big ones there. And I'd throw the big worm into we'd throw a shaky head, a 5/16 shaky head with a Magnum Zoom trick worm on it. They wouldn't touch any of that stuff. I said, "Steve, man, I got to pull up a dang drop shot." He goes, "What?" I pull it out there, first pitch, I caught a 5.5. I said, "What? It's on." And the rest of the day, we bounced around 10 brush piles all day, circling with that stupid drop shot. And all I did is change the color of the worm as the day got brighter. I went to a lighter worm, caught them all day long, caught a 6-pounder the last cast of the day. And we won the tournament. We smoked everybody's head, smoked them. I think second place has like 14 or 15 pounds, and it's all because of that drop shot. And it works, and it has its application. It's different. I was throwing it on 12-pound braid with 14-pound leader in the brush. But, the water wasn't that clear, but it was the presentation that worked, So, like Shane said, sometimes we learn things. I've learned it because I grew up out of town doing it, but at the end of the day, I have an arsenal in my boat. Right now, always has a Ned rig and a drop shot, always.
Absolutely. Me too.
100%. 100% Ned rig here, man.
Yeah,
Yes,
me too.
We're joking, but yes, that is a peacock killer, is a Ned rig.
Well, I know it's a smallmouth killer. That's the first time I threw ones at St. Clair or last 2 years ago. It wouldn't even hit the bottom.
No.
And one would have it.
No. And what's even better, I think, is that little Ned craw. When they get to eating them crawdads, if you see the craws and the smallies, switch over to that instead of the Ned rig. You'll see how many more you get. It's a stupid little bait, but it works, man. It works.
Man, I swear, we're all known to be power fishermen, and every one of these things we talk about, we start talking about drop shots and Ned rigs and shaky heads.
Because they've been making fun of me, Jesse. That's all it is. I come in here, tell them I caught them on a Ned rig. Oh, yeah, da. Well, now they're beginning to see the light.
Yeah.
They are beginning to see the light. And like I said, I was that guy for a long time that refused to see the light. I didn't want anything to do with it. And then, you get tired of getting beat by it. So
Yeah.
you best learn how to use it.
Well, Shane showed me some stuff this year on Cherokee. Was it Cherokee? Where the hell were we at? We're Cherokee, right? Remember we was fishing them fish and we couldn't get them to bite, and you showed me a little something, and I ain't gonna say what it is, but that was about as finesse as you can get with a dang Ned rig.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You just can't get no more finesse than that, and it worked. So, nobody around us was getting bit but me and I, and, there's a reason. So, it's just one of them things that, those are little tricks that you learn and you improve. And I got something better for us. I'm dying to show you. I'm dead serious. I'm serious. I'm so serious. You think I don't forget? I like to tinker, so tinkering with that stupid thing.
You've had plenty of time to do it with everything that's going on.
Yeah, well, hell, I've got nothing to do right now, man. Enigma Fishing is an online business.
Right.
It runs itself. All we worry about is inventory. And unfortunately, with this Chinese crisis that's going on there and here, it's slowed down our inventory. So my only fear is running out of things to sell. It's right now, our brand is growing, and I think we've done the right thing. We have the right team put together, Shane and Fredericks. we're just all good old guys. We're not a bunch of arrogant, not that Aaron is not, he's no longer with us, but he's not an arrogant guy by no stretch.
Sure.
But, he's off on a different tour. So I just wanted to put the right team together. Our sales are good. And, considering that we got killed for 2 months with shows, but, the brand's growing, the product growing, everything's going the right direction. We just need to be able to get the product.
So,
And,
so Jesse,
it is-
Shane talks about Enigma a good bit on here. Tell us the lines of rods you have, the lines of reels you have, and kind of the, start with like your flagship and work down to your, most cost-effective
Let me tell you the
options.
first thing, and I don't know if Shane ever talks about it, but the very first thing that you have to know about Enigma is you're buying factory direct. You're not dealing with, a distribution channel, and you're not dealing with retail markups. And like I said, if fishermen knew how much they were actually paying over what it's worth just to keep somebody's lights on, and I don't care if it's Academy or Bass Pro Shop, you guys never ever buy at a store again. I'm talking from, underwear all the way up to your fishing reels, hats and apparel. It's ridiculous. So, in 18, we made a conscious decision, Cody and I. We had like 23% of our sales were online. And we made more money from selling direct at a lower cost than selling to distributors. It didn't make no sense. And I said, we just got to get rid of these guys because they don't promote your brand. They promote legacy brands. And, you guys are pretty sharp guys. You guys ain't dummies. So if I have a store, which you do, and I carry the legacy brands, why would I keep promoting legacy brands? Why wouldn't I bring in something new? Everybody already knows I have legacy brands. Why wouldn't I promote the latest and the greatest and sell that product and get it established in my area so now I have another channel of income? Does that make sense? But that's not how a lot of the dealers work. They want you to do the marketing for them, and then they want to make their 50% margin. Well, I ain't going to do that for you, buddy. If I'm going to give 50% away, it's going in my pocket. So I'm just not doing it. And so we made a conscious decision to sell directly online. And, $160 rod all of a sudden dropped down to $119. And it's got the same Fuji or Alps guides as any of the top quality rods. And this is where I always tell everybody this. I ran into a guy at a store, and he didn't know I was the owner, and I was wearing my Enigma shirt. It was at Okeechobee. And it was a kid about 23 years old. And he says, oh, man, you got the right baits, because I was leading that tournament. It was a frog bite. He said, but you got the wrong rods. And I said, really? And I just wanted to hear him out. I always like to hear feedback, And he says, oh, I'm a Loomis guy. And my rods on the rack were sitting right next to Loomis. And I says, don't those Loomises over there, I think they were, what are they, NLXs or LXNs or whatever the hell.
NRX then.
Yeah, $399, and mine was at $169. And I said, don't they have Fuji guides on them? He says, yeah. I said, well, don't those Enigmas have Fuji guides? He says, yeah, I guess. I said, well, mine has Fuji handles, Fuji reel seats. Don't those Luminuses have those? He says, yeah. I said, why do you think the difference is almost $300? And he just stopped for a minute. I said, don't you think Loomis is way bigger than Enigma? They should buy all that stuff a lot cheaper, get a better price, charge less for their rod than I could. And then he looked at me when I said I could. He goes, oh, you own Enigma. I said, I'm just trying to teach your dumb ass a lesson. It's the same guides, the same reel seats, the same handles, it's the same carbon, it's the same everything. Why is it $400? It makes no sense. And he's like, I never thought of that. I said, well, tires are tires. You can't charge $900 for one set of tires and $50 for the next. It's all rubber. It's all going to serve the same purpose. There's only so much you can do, So that's our, we started, Aaron and I designed those HBTs. And like I tell everybody that ever picks up, and Shane is witness, I think, that I think we've over-engineered our rods, but you'll never know where all the engineering is at. Meaning it's in your tapers, your actions, the designs of the reels, seats, the handles, the cork shapes, certain things that Aaron is very, very particular about. Makes sense. When I tell you, then you go, wow, I didn't, you don't realize you do these things, or you hold the reel this way, or rod that way, or whatever. So if I can say anything about any one of our rods, whether it's a $79 Phenom to the $120 HBT, they're all over-engineered. I can say they'll put more fish in the boat for you. You'll lose less fish over the course of a year than you will using anything. And I was just teasing Aaron. He was on one of the tours, and he says, "Man, I've lost one." Remember, he was bitching and griping about it, and I called him. I said, "Because you were using somebody else's rod." He's used to his rods, and he's, this year we're not working together, and it's all about economics. It's nothing else, So it was just a joke. I was able to dig at him a bit. So, the HPTs, we went to all Alps guides in 19, beginning of 19. And Shane, have you ever had a guide failure?
Nope.
You
Not
will
one.
never. We have 0 warranty issues in 2 years on Alps guides. 0. We had issues with other brands on guides. Never had an issue. Never. So we started using all Alps reel seats, fork, and guides. 0, literally 0 issues. The E-Pond is another one that we formulated, which is kind of like the golf style grip, but it's all double stitched instead of glued over. In Florida, what will happen is if you use the glued over style golf grips and you put them in your box and they're there for a month or a month and a half in your garage, and you don't go fishing, it's 200 degrees in there, those things start to unravel. So we solved that problem. If you look at one of our E-Ponds, and Shane, you have some, it's almost like a baseball glove. It's double stitched rubber, basically, that type of golf grip, so it's never going to come apart. And it also has the same Fuji or the Alps guides, Alps reel seats, the whole 9 yards. And even our $79.99, $99 Phenom, which is our green rod, we sell 1 million of those compared to any other rod we make, has the same Alps guides and the same Fuji, or the same Alps reel seats and guides that the $120 rod had. The only difference is in the carbon. So it's more expensive, obviously, if you go to a 30, 40 ton blank than it is a 24 ton type of blank. It's a little lighter, it's a little bit more sensitive, it costs a lot more money to make, and unfortunately, that MLF show, you notice a lot of guys break a lot of rods on that show. I've never seen guys break more rods on live TV than I have on that show. In all the years of Elites, can you guys remember guys breaking rods? Seriously, think about that.
I don't.
It didn't happen.
Not.
I've watched guys on one show break 3 and 4 rods, the same guy.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter what brand it is. You know why?
The only rods I remember them breaking were back in the Jimmy Houston and Bill Dance days, where they told you not to boat flip fish, and they'd break in half.
Well,
That was 30 years ago.
there's only one reason. Yeah, there's only one reason those rods break, and I don't care whose brand it is. High sticking. They try to land a fish, and they don't want it to hit the carpet, so they point the rod straight up, and the fish is hanging straight down. Well, the rod ain't meant to be a freaking piece of paper. It's got to have some kind of bend to it, and it snaps right up there almost every time. I've watched them do it over and
Yeah,
over
right.
and
The
over.
spine of it.
Yeah, because what happens is they're trying to save the 2-minute penalty, and they're hanging a 3-pounder, a 4-pounder, or a 2-pounder. It doesn't take a big fish to do it. It's not that the rod is no good. It's just you're using it inappropriately. It's not meant to do that. So, and the MLF thing, I've noticed that a lot of guys are breaking a lot of rods, and it's happening because they're trying to save this fish, and it's basically sitting there hanging.
Right.
Make sense? So, but yeah, I'm very proud of what we've developed. I really am. We work hard at it. All our reels, we don't have a reel higher than $109. And they all have right there from your guys' neck of the woods, an old Scott with full high-speed bearings. They cast a country mile, and everything has a lifetime warranty, man.
That's cool. I didn't know that. I don't know how lifetime warranties on them.
Did you know?
I didn't know
A
that.
lifetime warranty on all our reels. It's original owner, lifetime warranty. And we're always running some kind of deal. We always want to help. I'm not in this to get rich. By no means I'm not getting rich. I don't want to get rich. I just want to be able to give the average guy good fishing equipment and a good value, and something that he'd be able to say, I'm going to buy my son the combo for $120, and he knows he's got a good rod and reel that'll last that kid 3 or 4 or 5 years, and he can go out and fish with it. And that's our goal, is to be able to do that. It's not to sell a $300 rod. I don't have no intention on ever doing
Yeah.
it.
Well,
I care less about it.
That's a heck of a mission statement. That's a good one.
Well, it's when we started this, we got hung up in the bass scene, because I'm a bass fisherman. And I told Shane, I said, there's about, and this is right from Terry Brown at Wired to Fish, there's about 31,000 tournament fishermen in the United States is all. There's 66 million license holders. Who do I want to sell to?
All of them.
I definitely needed to get away from the bass guys and sell to the more general public.
Right.
And that's why we went on Amazon, and we sell a pile of rods and reels on Amazon. So this month, we're running combo deals. Next month, I'm running reel deals. So buy a reel, any bait caster, you get a spinning reel for 16 or 20 bucks, whatever Cody figured out on that thing. It's like 50, 60% off, you know. And then the bait casting reels are gonna be a BOGO. You buy one, you get one for the whole month of May. I'm just trying to help out people that got hurt by the economy, and we don't, you know, we're still making some money, obviously, but at the end of the day, we can get our product out and it helps people get back out and fishing. You know, I think fishing's a recession.
Time to stock up.
Yeah, I do. I believe fishing's a recession-proof business.
Well, we're definitely doing more of it.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, listen, my dad came from Cuba in '59, and he told me the other day, he says, son, Cody told me your sales are really good online. And he says, you know why? He says, when I came from Cuba, I was broke, working 3 jobs, and the only thing I could afford to do was go buy freaking $2 worth of bait. I grabbed my fishing pole and go fish. That was my relaxation, you know? And he says, I was never too broke to go fishing. I always had $2 in my pocket to go buy some bait. And I just go sit in Venice Pier in California and fish. You know, catch whatever hell you catch. And he's right. How many people, like around here, we're seeing a lot of families sitting on the banks, because every one of these lakes down up and down the highways here have fish in them. And it's great to go down there and you see mom and dad and kid and grandma, everybody sitting around fishing. I think that's cool as hell.
Sure.
Yep, it is.
For sure.
And you just don't see that as much before.
Right.
In the last 3 or 4 or 5 weeks here, it's something you see all. I seen it yesterday coming home, man. They had their lawn chairs out and they had the whole family was fishing for them. And it was neat to see that, you know. So that's the people we want to cater to.
That's right. Well, Jesse, we're coming up on 2 hours and 15 minutes.
We're ghosted, man. I haven't eaten dinner. None of y'all have either, have you?
That's hard to believe, to be honest with you. We've
Hey,
been
you
talking
look
that long.
What is that?
What's that?
I said, Shane looks hungry.
Heck
Shane's
yeah.
tired.
Tired.
Tired after that cornhole
I
whooping you took.
had to beat these boys in cornhole
No,
today.
no. We got surveillance videos up here.
See,
We
they
put them
lie.
on if you want.
They're terrible losers.
David and I
They're
went
terrible
over.
losers. Beat the brakes off of
David
them.
and I went over
They're
6 times and
terrible.
still beat you. Well, you did beat
You
us
didn't even
once.
know how to keep score.
I told you I never played before.
You never played cornhole. Are you kidding me?
That's how every yeah, you'd work too. That's how every hustle starts.
He's full of crap, what he is.
I was going to say, come on, man. I'm Cuban. I played cornhole. The hell?
Goodness.
That's like that movie White Men Can't Jump. I want that guy.
Yeah.
That guy?
Billy Ho?
Yeah. I'll let you pick my teammate. That guy right there.
Yeah, Brandon is Billy Ho, no doubt.
Got it, man. I married into a redneck family, so, you know, I mean, we've played cornhole for 30 years. I know. You know.
That's right. Yeah, we
All right,
played
boys.
horseshoes.
I'm ready to go eat, man. I got dinner sitting there waiting on me. I'm hungry.
David's dad just said, I'm not paying you guys to play cornhole.
Got David in trouble.
It was after hours.
It
was
was.
after hours. Dude, I had to work.
Russ and David's defense. It was after
It was
hours. But Jess, thanks for being on here, man. We appreciate it, and we enjoyed it.
Yeah, man, me too, buddy. Like I said, anytime you want. I'll talk your ear off. You know that. Don't cost you nothing.
It's all good.
Well, Jesse, thanks again.
Yeah, man.
David's got her.
Guys, you know, like I said, I'm looking forward to this year's elite season, and I just think it's going to be a whole new component that nobody's ever seen before. It's going to be a lot of fun. You know, it's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of change, and we're going to see a lot of new faces that you don't normally see. You know what I'm saying? Up there at the Winners, that's just the way I feel about it. It's going to be a whole different grind. So
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to it. I really am looking forward to it.
Well, it's definitely going to make the deer hunters mad.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
God. I wish I could tell them the goose story. I wish I could tell them the goose story at Old Hickory, man. I thought I was going to get killed over there. I can't say it on live radio. Yeah, I can't say it, but yeah, it makes the hunters mad, that's for sure.
Oh, Lord.
Yes, especially geese hunters. These guys are freaking, I mean, nuts. So, and I never knew that till that day. That was the day. Yeah. So, yeah, it was pretty fun. All right, fellas, go get some supper, man. I appreciate y'all having me on here.
Thanks, Jesse.
All right, buddy. Appreciate it.
Yep, God bless y'all, man. Be good. We'll talk soon, buddy.
Thanks,
All right,
man.
listen, I can't wait to go out and do something, brother.
All right.
All right, buddy. Be
Take
good,
it
man.
easy.
See you, man.
Yeah, man.
See ya.
Later.
All right, guys, that'll wrap us up for tonight. Rusty Hooks Live every Monday night, 6:30 sharp, usually. Unless we have technical difficulties like we did last week.
Yeah.
But
Sorry
it was
about
good
that.
this week. It was good this week.
We got
it
everything
was
in.
really good.
Starting to figure this out a little bit. I guess, David, our trademark sign-off.
Our hooks may be rusty, but our points are always sharp.
There it is. Till next time, guys, you can catch us on Facebook if you're watching us live. That is Rusty Hooks Live. You can find us on your favorite podcast player, or look us up on YouTube. You got any questions, comments, suggestions for the show? You can always reach out to us either Facebook or on our Gmail account at rustyhookslive@gmail.com. I promise David will answer email within a month. Just kidding, guys. We'll get back to you as soon as we see you. But again, thanks for tuning in. I know we ran a little long, but we had a lot of good stuff to cover tonight, and we will see you next week.